I believe that the energy in the room writes the songs.
Since you understand the business side of music so much, how has that impacted your creativity and your writing?
You shouldn't create based on algorithms.
Evan Kid Bogart. He wrote his first song and it's SOS for Rihanna. It goes number 1.
Not even big cut, my first cut.
You wrote Halo for Beyonce with Ryan Tedder. You're the vice chair of the Recording Academy, and you just raised $267 million to buy more music catalogs. Oh yeah, and he's the guy that discovered Eminem. You're a rare person in the music industry.
I love reinvention. I've done it a few times.
The average person hears all the time about like, so-and-so just sold their catalog for X amount of dollars. How does that game work?
Songwriters are alchemists, right? We walk into a room and there's nothing, and we walk out of the room and we own an asset. We've created it. You don't see it, but you can hear it, but it's there.
Yeah,
and it generates money, and you could sell it.
How big of an artist do you need to be in order to sell your catalog?
Anyone can.
Let's go to class right now.
Okay, sure.
Can you explain to people what a mechanical is? What is the business of mastering? What is the business of publishing? What is modern day A&Ring? Is it dead?
Producers and writers themselves are becoming the A&Rs that are actually making the records in the room.
Now here we are today, where even if you write a song that has 1 billion streams, unless you're the only writer on it, which you never are,
correct.
You can't buy a house.
You can maybe live off of it for like a year.
As a songwriter, splits are sacred, political.
Nothing gets me more riled up than when I think someone's getting taken advantage of, especially when it comes to stuff like splits. And I think a lot of great parts of songs are left on the floor because people don't listen to the voice in their stomach. And I think it's the same voice that says to me, there is something absolutely special here. Do not listen to the doubts in your head. You are right.
What advice would you give to someone who feels that they have something that hasn't been recognized yet?
Lean in. Every time there's something that's kind of scary, or maybe you'll fail, it's always lean in. If a wave's gonna crash on you, if you turn and run away from it, it knocks you over. Yes. The only way you don't knock over is if you go through it. You gotta lean into the wave.
Go.
Let's drink Love kicking it, man.
Let's go.
Hey, this is Elmo Lovano. Welcome back to the show. My guest today is a dear friend of mine. He is one of the best in the music business, and we go deep on both the music and the business. And his name is Evan Kid Bogart. There's a lot of information in this episode, a lot to learn from. So I hope you enjoy it and you dive in and take away a lot of value for yourself. We recently hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. We greatly appreciate it. We read all of the comments, so please continue the conversation and please share the show with your music-loving friends. And if you wouldn't mind leaving a review wherever you're listening to us, or liking, commenting, any of that, we greatly appreciate your love and support. I'd like to take a moment to thank a couple companies for supporting the show and making this possible. This episode is brought to you by our friends at The Pod Company and their product, the Sonopod. One thing that every musician knows is that staying healthy on the road isn't easy. Long flights, late nights, tour buses, rehearsals, and shows can all take tolls on your body. That's why I think the Sonopod is such a cool idea. It's a true dry heat sauna that reaches up to 185 degrees, giving you that traditional sauna experience, but it packs into a carry bag and sets up in just a few minutes. So whether you're on tour, traveling for sessions, or just tight on space at home, you could bring it with you and keep your wellness routine going wherever you are. It's made from 100% natural cotton, and people use it for recovery, muscle relief, better sleep, and overall wellness. Right now, the Pod Company is offering Go With Elmo listeners an exclusive discount. Use code ELMO at checkout to get the Sonopod for just $499, down from the original $999 retail price. They've sold out before, so if you've been thinking about it, do not sit on it. Check out the link in the show notes and use code ELMO. Thank you so much for supporting the show. I'd like to thank our friends at DistroKid. DistroKid is the easiest way to get your music on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and 150 other platforms worldwide. For as little as $2 a month, you can release unlimited songs and keep 100% of your earnings. DistroKid also has an app that has a lot of fun features in it to help you promote your music or even do splits with your collaborators. So if you'd like to check out DistroKid for 20% off your first year, you can go to distrokid.com/VIP/Elmo. Thank you so much for supporting the show. What is up? Welcome to the show. We have an incredibly special show for you today. We're not just talking music. We're going to also talk the business of music. And my guest today is the perfect person to do this. He is the vice chair of the Recording Academy, the organization behind the Grammys. He is the co-chair of the Songwriter and Composers Wing at the Academy. He is buying music catalogs as the CEO of Seeker, having just closed a $267 million deal to continue doing that. He's also a songwriter himself and has written hits including Halo for Beyonce, SOS for Rihanna, and many others. Oh yeah, and he's the guy that discovered Eminem. He's a songwriter, a businessman, a catalog collector, a royalty protector, a hit connector, and somehow an incredibly nice guy. And he's also my dear friend. Make a ton of noise for Evan Bogart.
Yay. Dude, that was amazing. Probably the best introduction I've ever had.
Clock it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might need to get that copy and like put it on my like Instagram profile.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure, I could sell it to Seeker. Are you interested in buying it?
Yeah, buy your copy from you. Two multiple.
Multiple to two. I'll take $8. Okay. Well, great to see you, bro.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
over.
Thanks for having me.
It's always good to hang in person.
So fun.
We're busy guys. It's rare.
Sure.
It's rare to have the one-on-one time and not just the we're at an event.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I cherish this time.
Likewise.
I cherish it.
Your place is great, by the way.
Thank you very much.
It's awesome. Everybody should come over.
Come on over.
Yeah.
We're going to be handing out Evan's social security number at the door. You're a rare person that has sat in more seats than most in the music industry.
Yeah.
Started in the mailroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
A&R, manager, booking agent, hit songwriter, catalog owner, and creator advocate. So what today takes up your most time and what is making you happiest?
Oh man, that's a really great question. I think, I've been building this company Seeker for 6 years. I would say that probably takes up the most amount of my time, that and family.
Yeah.
I have 2 small children, and then my wife is due in like a few weeks.
Really?
With our third.
Yeah. You have a third on the way. Oh, congratulations.
This is like the exclusive right here.
Well, we're breaking news.
Breaking news. We have a third on the way. So, I'm assuming that might take up some time.
Yes.
But
should at least.
But yeah, and then in addition to that, everything you named at the beginning, like, there's a lot of work and important work that goes into what I do at the Recording Academy.
Yeah.
And then creating, man. When I can find the time.
How do you find the time to create still?
You have to make it a priority. You have to do it. They're all a priority for me. People are like, what's your priority? And I'm like, they're all my priority. I think Seeker takes up on the work side, Seeker takes up the most amount of time.
Yeah.
Because it's my baby and we've been building it and I'm fully in on it. So, I've had to scale back my songwriting.
Yeah.
From what I was doing pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, I was writing 5, sometimes 6 days a week. I would always take off at least one day to recharge. And often times there'd be doubles in a day or something like that if I had a night, later session and stuff like that. And I was just completely running and gunning from like 2005, 2006 through 2019.
Yeah.
It was a long time of like just that grind.
Yeah.
Like that grind.
Yeah.
And then also kind of wearing both hats where I was like signing and developing talent during those 14, 15 years. For most of it, I would say for the 10 of those years, and so kind of wearing those both hats. But in COVID, I felt like, I just started Seeker and I was planning on writing and doing Seeker. But I honestly, and I have friends who thrived at this, and it's not knocking this, but like I personally still hate Zoom writing.
Oh my God, yes.
Right? Like it was like I tried it it when COVID started. I did sessions. I just was like, no. I didn't really love starting songs from scratch on Zoom. Like that to me just felt like there was and so much of the creative process to me is like the energy.
Yeah.
I'm always convinced like the energy in the room writes the song. Like
Yeah.
you could be the most talented person in the world, and if your energy's whack that day, what are you contributing? You know,
Yeah.
you're just ruining it. So it's like really, it's what you bring to the room as a package, and a lot of that is your energy and how you collaborate and what kind of vibe you're putting off. And I felt like Zoom for me blocked the energy. It was hard to get a vibe to start something. Now that being said, like I ended up pivoting and doing like lyric doctoring, like surgical work on Zoom. I was fine with that. If somebody had a song and they wanted me to come in and help fix it or make it better, or we needed to rewrite the hook or something like that, but there was already an idea. I was fine with that.
Yes.
But really coming out of COVID, I just found myself having spent so much time on Seeker and Seeker doing so well that I really just leaned in there.
Yeah.
And I never really got back to the same writing schedule that I was before.
That makes sense. Because you actually stopped the momentum that you had for all those years of doing that.
Honestly, it was kind of a breath of fresh air to stop the grind for a minute.
Yeah.
And then going back into it, I felt like I could be even more selective. I had less time to write, so I could be even more selective about what I worked on. And that did two things, which was one, it gave me the opportunity to write because I wanted to and not because I needed to.
Yes.
Which is a totally different.
Absolutely.
You know, I like the things that I feel like are some of the biggest obstacles to songwriters, working songwriters, you know, like the anxiety, the FOMO, the rejection, like all of these things. It's like, I got to write a hit. How am I going to pay my bills? Like all that stuff. Like I didn't really have those thoughts anymore.
Yeah.
Because I had Seeker, which I was, you know, it's getting paid to do, but also, limited time to write, where it's like, well, you can't have those feelings and not give writing your full, like it's not fair for you to feel that FOMO, but you're not giving writing your full amount of time. Like they don't connect to me. It's like, if you have the FOMO, then stop doing Seeker and just go write songs full time. Right. Like, and so the other thing was my product got better every time I'd write. Like I wasn't riddled with all these other outside thoughts that were bothering me. And I was more selective about who I was going in with on what projects, which upped my cut rate.
Yes.
But then as Seeker kept building more, I kept writing less.
Yeah.
So I'm still writing, but again, it's when I want to, and typically in service of Seeker.
So here's something I struggle with running Jam Card and the Jam and the podcast and my side companies, all that stuff, and then drumming, musical directing, producing.
Yeah.
It's switching in out of the emails and the Zooms and the shareholders and all the stuff, the employees, like everything every day, and switching to creative time. Like, okay, now I'm going to be creative. How do you do it?
That is a superpower that I cannot explain. I have always had the ability of just flipping the switch. I could literally be in the middle of a session, get a phone call when I was writing full time and publishing other writers, get a phone call, jump on a call about, you know, with Larry, my manager, whoever, and just talk business stuff for like 20 minutes, hang up the phone, walk right back into the session, switch it back on. I don't know how, but I have the ability to go right brain, left brain in any moment's notice.
When you're in the creative session, do you have your phone on you?
Yes.
So you're looking at the messages at the incoming.
I shouldn't be.
Yeah, but you are.
Because that's when you write your best stuff, is when you're fully disconnected and present in the session. But part of the reason that I ended up choosing to lean more in one way or the other was because I felt like I was constantly in direct conflict between my business self and my creative self, where I couldn't give creative my all. This is like 2017, 18, 19, like those years. I felt like I was like being creative, but I kind of wanted to do this other thing. And to the Grammy side of things, I had just gotten elected to president of the LA chapter, and I wanted to spend more time dedicated to like being of service to being in the corner of songwriters. And I feel like that was more in alignment with building a company like Seeker than writing songs full time like I was before.
Yes.
I can't not be creative. Like if I go too long without doing something creative, I start feeling like something's missing. So like I have to make sure I still work that into my thing. But like, I am able to just like now spend more time in the business side. But that being said, I built a company that where it allows me to be creative in different ways.
Yes.
You know, and we do camps all the time at our studios, and I always jump into at least one of the days. But even just like curating the camp, figuring out what songs we're going to flip, starting flip ideas and handing them off to writers, like, thinking of remix ideas, like, A&Ring records, like I'm able to be creative where I'm not actually creating the record itself. And there's actually something freeing about that. I actually don't have to create the record.
Yes.
I don't have to take credit for everything. I feel good about that.
You can still add creative touch with strategy, with plans, with marketing.
I always knew when to wear the right hat. Even when I was publishing writers prior to Seeker, I always knew when a writer would ask me, or even my wife, when Zizi would ask me, will you listen to this song? I knew when it was, can you tell me how to make it better, or can you help me actually make it better? There's a distinction, and I know when to wear the A&R hat and when to wear the collaborator hat.
Yes.
And I use that, I translate that into my everyday work at Seeker.
And Evan's wife is Zizi Ward, who is an artist, if you couldn't tell, from just to give context to the listener. We love you, listener. Okay, we're going to get deep into Seeker and what it is, but one question for you. Since you understand the business side of music so much, how has that impacted your creativity and your writing? Does it change your approach into writing a song?
At different times in my career, it did. I think that, I was definitely, and I'm going to say victim to, because I think everybody did it. I was definitely victim to like changing arrangements in songs when like the Spotify, everybody started figuring out what the Spotify algorithm was, and like skip rates and things like that. And you go, oh, we got to start the song with the chorus now, and there can't be intros anymore, and the song needs to be shorter than 3 minutes. I mean, like all of that kind of stuff. And I still think to some extent people think that way. But that's like a shame. Like you shouldn't create based on algorithms. Right. Yeah. Like to me, I know that's like the business. It's kind of the business, but it's like the business of streaming. Right. And so I think that kind of stuff definitely affects the creative process when you know too much, I guess. Yes. But also like, to some extent I was comfortable with scaling back from writing full time, because I was reading the tea leaves of where songwriting was going. And because I was so involved in advocating for songwriters and understanding what kind of uphill battle we faced in order to actually get fair and equitable pay, and how the economics of songwriting had changed from even when I started writing 2005, 2006, when SOS came out, and like to even before that, pre-streaming, pre-download era, like the physical era where people could write album cuts and buy houses. Yeah. Because of the mechanical rate. So I think
an album cut.
Of an album cut. People would write like an album cut on a Backstreet Boys record and buy a house in Calabasas. Amazing. Right? It's like, so yeah. I think that I'd watched that. Like when I got into I was in the business already. So I watched that happen. When I got into writing, it was pre-streaming, right? Like when SOS came out, even when, all the Sean Kingston stuff and Derulo, and even when Halo came out. Yeah. Like it was iTunes. Yeah. It was the iTunes era had started. So there wasn't even streaming, and even the downloads were still getting paid a decent rate.
$1.99 a download.
Yeah. But you started to see your royalties dwindle, and especially as streaming started and all of that and everything, that came with that, where it was not, they weren't set up in the right way, those licenses for writers and publishers to get paid fairly.
It's crazy.
And then the fights with the organizations and legislation and the CRB and the consent decrees and understanding all of that. And you start to go, and then all of a sudden this, like, because of streaming, there's an influx of people where music is more accessible. Music creation, the bar for music creation goes down because of new digital tools that are available. Mm-hmm. And then everybody who was like trying to write music, but the barrier of entry was too high, either cost wise or access wise. All of a sudden that barrier of entry got really low. Yep. So everyone and their mother is now able to create music in their bedroom, put it out online instantaneously. And the amount of people who then became songwriters increased. Yeah. I don't even know how many fold, 100,000 fold. Yeah. Where it was like, I'll give you an example. When SOS came out, I remember like my mom was in the business, right? She knows how the business runs or ran in the 70s, but not.
Evan's mom managed Kiss, notably.
Right.
Pretty awesome.
My stepdad was not in the business, and I remember him being like, "So what do? You write lyrics or something? Like, I don't really understand." And like, it's like, how do you explain to your friends my songs? My son's a songwriter, right? Like that's like a weird, like he gets paid to do that. Like, is that like a free job? I mean, kind of is a free job, but
kind of. But technically, yes.
Cut to the last 10 years. It's like the amount of emails or texts I get from my mom, like, my friend's granddaughter is writing music and will you listen to it? Like everyone is making music now. Every Uber driver, every delivery person, everyone. And so I think that base plus the issues with legislation, there was a little bit like, oh, if you were going to pivot and evolve, this might also be a good moment to do that.
Yeah.
And since you have the ability to do that and opportunity to try to figure out how to do that, and you have all of this experience, like I always say, I went to Interscope Records University for college, and then I got a master's in artist management and booking agent before I wrote a hit song for Rihanna, and became a professional songwriter, and then turned into a publisher and an artist development executive. Right? Like that's kind of been my trajectory. Like, so the fact that I had all that education prior to becoming a songwriter, like you said, knowing the business side, informed me when I felt like it was time to evolve into the next thing. And that's kind of been a thing of my career, is like pivoting. Like I've always found myself get to a certain point and go, okay, it's time to pivot.
Yes. It's really important to not be too precious over one thing.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
I love reinvention.
Yes, same.
I've done it a few times.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. I think that's what makes us chameleons, right? Is you can just put us in a room, we'll figure it out. And since we both didn't go to college.
But that's what it is. You figure it out.
You dive in and figure it out.
Quit being an agent to go into writing full time. I didn't want to, but like I was being pressured to. And they were like, what's it going to take for you to leave the agency?
He was being pressured to because he wrote his first song and it's SOS for Rihanna.
My first cut, my first big cut goes number one ever. Not even big cut, my first cut.
Oh yeah, first cut.
My first cut ever goes number one.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of like, oh, well, I love creating. Like maybe I could do this.
Yeah.
And then you have everyone in your world going, don't leave your job. You're crazy. Like you can't leave you have a paycheck and an office and an assistant and insurance and what are you doing? And also I was like newly sober, right? I was like a year and a half into sobriety. They're like, don't do it, And then Zach Katz, who was managing JR, would call me, and JR, who I wrote SOS with, JR wrote him. Yeah. So I'm getting better at saying that. Sounds like JR wrote him.
Zach Katz, big industry guy.
He was like, dude, what's it going to take for you to leave the agency? And I was like, I don't know, put me in the studio with Britney Spears. It was like the craziest thing I could think of. And then he made a phone call, and then she was like, I love SOS. Yeah, have him come out to Vegas next week. And me and JR spent the next week in Vegas working on Blackout, on the Blackout album. And I came back and quit my job.
As you would.
But I spent 4 months kind of being pretty mediocre as an agent and pretty mediocre as a songwriter because I was trying to do both at the same time.
Yes.
And then I was in the studio and I felt inadequate because I didn't go to school. And because not for business, but for music. And I was surrounded by JR and Greg Ogan and Makiba and Nephew and DQ and all these people who went to Berkeley.
Yeah.
And they were all saying things that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
All this lingo and language and terminology. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No idea. So I started taking theory classes at UCLA.
Nice.
And
just to keep up with JR's piano, insane classical piano talk.
Just like the Berkeley mafia that I was surrounded by, right? Like I had no idea what was going on. Yeah. And so I went to these classes, and I remember like a few months into it, JR was calling me. He's like, dude, I need you in the studio today. I forget we were working at like J-Lo or something. And I was like, I have theory class. I'm in theory class. I can't come to the studio.
He's like, I'll teach you the theory today. Get over
JR said, do you want to learn how to write songs or do you want to come write songs?
Amazing quote.
And I thought, and I left and I never went back.
Yes.
When I got to the studio that day, I remember him sitting me down and saying, look, dude, I've spent years trying to unlearn the boxes that I was put in.
Yes.
You don't have boxes. Don't put yourself in one. Don't create the boxes.
Beautiful.
Just do what you do instinctually.
Yeah.
And that was a huge lesson for me. It was important at that time.
Especially,
and I've used that, like you saying, I've used that in business.
yes.
Which is like, new things come, lean in, figure it out.
Dive in and figure it out.
Instinct.
And at that time, you had JR next to you, so he can tell you how to like, oh, this is how we're going to change the key. This is the reharm. This is the whatever. You can do what you're great at. And it's the same thing with running the business, right? Like you're going to learn about, okay, how do I buy a catalog? How do I do this? How do I price this? Whatever. Buy amazing people around you and you do what you're great at.
JR is an anomaly with that. Like I remember once we were, him and Cara Diaguardi was in the room, and I would walk up to the keyboard and I would slam my hands on the notes, and they would both fire out notes to tell me which notes I slammed my hands on. They were competing in like perfect pitch. It was like they had these Berkeley people play sick games, man.
Yeah. They can't help it. They're cursed with it. It's in their mind when they hear it.
Yeah.
It's wild to think about where you were in music at the time, where the music industry was at the time, as you were saying, like an album track being able to buy you a house. And now here we are today, where even if you write a song that has 1 billion streams, unless you're the only writer on it, which you never are,
correct,
you can't buy a house.
Right.
You can't buy a house with that.
No.
And it's so rare.
I mean, you can maybe live off of it for like a year, maybe, depending on what your cost of living is, a year.
And depending if you've had a cut yet, because if not, it's going to take you 1.5 years to even start seeing.
And when you get paid, right?
Yeah, or when you get paid.
Yeah. So like it could be 9 months to 18 months or longer, depending on where the revenue is coming from.
We're going to dive deep into songwriting and all those kind of things later on in the pod. But for now, I want to talk about a big topic today.
Okay.
Which is buying catalogs.
Yeah.
There's been a gold rush in catalog acquisition it's been happening.
You don't say.
Especially, you know what also I like about you doing this and you jumping in, which I can't believe it's been 6 years of Seeker already, because I remember when you called me and told me you were doing it.
I know.
That's wild that it's been 6
so
years.
Crazy.
At the time, you weren't at all the first guy jumping into this, right? There's already, this model had already existed. Hypnosis came and really went hard with it. And all these other catalog acquisitions, like songs as an asset class, became a thing. Whatever, 10 years ago or whatever. And it's so for you jumping into the game when there's already a space that you could say is crowded.
It wasn't crowded yet.
Okay.
Like it was starting to get crowded, but
Yeah.
it hadn't gotten crowded. It didn't really get crowded. So we started Seeker with just the backstory that I wanted to do something bigger. And I felt like I needed to evolve into a more support role in music, right? Like I felt like between the Grammy thing and between where I felt like songwriting was going, I just wanted to evolve into more of this, build a bigger boat so I could support more creators and songs, right? And in that process, I was meeting with everyone, some major publishers, some labels, some big indie publishers, like different people. Like, should I go in? Maybe I'll take a job in. I haven't been in since Interscope, APA, the agency, but really Interscope and the music, in like the recorded side or publishing side. Or maybe I'll do a deal with a major and like carve out my own lane. I don't know. I was just trying to figure out like, how do I do something different than the little mom and pop thing? By the way, the mom and pop thing that I did, which was basically me and my manager, Larry Wade, and like, a couple people here and there helping me and Larry, was, obviously largely we had Ricky Reed, we had ZZ Ward, I had MKTO with E-Man. Like it was a successful 10 years of doing the mom and pop kind of thing. But I was like, how do I expand on that and do more for more people? And this music publisher who's at Warner Chappell named Rich Christina. At the time before he went to Warner Chappell, he had just left Sony, and he was consulting for this investment company out of the UK and was like, look, I know what you're trying to do. You should meet these investors. At the same time, was right around the time that Merck had started making headlines in 2019, like early 2019.
Merck ran Hypnosis.
Merck Mercuriadis, yeah. And so Merck had actually reached out about acquiring my Ricky Reed catalog. So I kind of knew that there was something going on here. And I ended up shopping that catalog. I didn't end up doing the deal with Hypnosis, but I learned a lot in that process. And so when I met these investors, I was like, I don't, like, to your point, I just straight up with them. I was like, I don't buy catalogs. I build catalogs. I don't know anything about buying catalogs. But if you want me to build a catalog from scratch, I will sign some songwriters. I'll go in the studio myself and let's go, you know? And they were like, hear us out for a second. We've done this diligence for the last year. We've spent a year in the marketplace, guided by people like Rich Christina and others. And we've met with everyone under the sun. And we've come to this conclusion that we feel like in the next couple of years, a lot of the mid-tier independent music publishing companies are going to get bought up by majors. And there's going to be space if you start now to build a publishing company from scratch with an active management platform. That by the time those get bought up, you'll have a footing in the marketplace and you'll be the answer. You'll be the differentiator. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I hadn't thought about it like that. And they were like, and the way you get stood up quickly is through acquisition. Instead of signing frontline and trying to break writers and artists, and hopefully one of them breaks to pay for all of the ones that didn't break, and then you could build off of that. Let's not do that. Let's go invest in historically successful records that have stable cash flows. And let's use the revenue generated from that to then build operations and build an active management company that will then take those revenues and grow those revenues to a higher level than they've ever been, and then keep reinvesting that money. That was kind of like the general thesis of what they pitched me. And I thought, well, I've never done it that way. That's an interesting approach to it. I'm usually just signing from my gut. Like, I believe in this person. Like the world should believe in them too. But I thought about it and I was like, man, this sounds really interesting. Like I could go and like invest in music that inspired me, that I grew up listening to, that like informed me as a songwriter, that I would have killed to have worked on at any point. And as somebody who started off as a sampling producer when I was 13 years old and wanting to be DJ Premier, you know, to me, I thought about it like, oh, this is interesting. It's like crate digging. I'm going into the record store of the past and I'm pulling records that I want to buy, and hopefully they'll let me buy them. I have to bid for them, but hopefully they'll let me buy them. And if I buy them, then I can go and sample them and I can remix them and I could do fun things with them. Like, this sounds fun. So all of a sudden my creative brain started working like, okay, if I owned a bunch of catalogs that I loved, like what would I do with them? And sharing those ideas back and forth with these investors, you know, they realized I was the right guy to lead this active management platform. And they promised me that they were going to teach me everything. They were going to surround me with the smartest people on earth and teach me everything about catalog valuation, acquisition, finance, publishing finance, records finance. And they did. They surrounded me with brilliant people. And when COVID started, I spent the first 4 months of COVID like in class. I was on Zoom every day.
Perfect time.
Yeah, right? I was on Zoom every day learning. I was on the phone calling people being like, hey, I started this company. And by the way, like Merck had started making headlines, and like Primary Wave had already been buying catalogs. Prior to that, Shamrock had already been buying catalogs. Prior to that, Reservoir, there was a few others, but not a ton, maybe like a dozen players in the marketplace.
With big backing though.
With big backing, or they had raised money and institutional backing. And the majors weren't buying catalogs really. I mean, very seldom at that point. And if even then in those early years, they were incredibly uncompetitive with their offers. In that first year, so that first 4 months, I got a crash course I got an MBA, like basically in 4 months. And then in July of that year, I ended up buying my first catalog. And then by the end of July, I bought a second catalog, which is still one of my favorite catalogs, is Brian Alexander Morgan. You know Brian?
No.
He wrote and produced all of the SWV records.
Oh, nice.
Like 100%.
Nice.
Like, and one of incredible. He's like
back in the 100% days.
But he's like the Teddy Riley that's not a household name.
Amazing.
Like he should be. Like it's amazing who he's worked with.
That was your second acquisition?
Second acquisition, yeah.
What was the first one?
It was a songwriter named Al Sharad Lambert. It goes by the name A-Rod. And he co-wrote a lot of Ariana Grande's first album.
Nice.
And so then I hired like a CFO. I was like, on Zoom, by the way, like all of this is on Zoom, right? Like I don't, and we just started kind of like rocking. Like I had the board of directors, and like I was bringing stuff in. I was either on the phone, basically calling everyone I've ever known for the last 30 years and telling them what I'm doing to see if there's something out there. Or I was on the computer with our, former CFOs of major publishing companies teaching me and modeling in real time while I'm watching and asking questions and learning and growing from it. And honestly, at 40, I was like, 41 when this was 42 when this was happening, or 41, whatever, doesn't matter. But I feel like to have that opportunity to like learn, to grow your skill set and kind of evolve and learn a part of the business that you hadn't learned at that time and learn it from like really smart people who, and then put it to work right away and like on the job training, was, I mean, it's just like, it's an opportunity you can't say no to.
Absolutely.
And so I leaned into it. That's like my big, on my desk at home, I have a home office as well as Seeker. My desk at home has a sticky note that literally just says lean in. And that's the thing that's like, every time there's something that I'm like, that's kind of scary, or like, I've never done that before, or maybe you'll fail, or those words in your head, it's always lean in, man. And it comes, and I think about it in the sense of like waves. That if a wave's going to crash on you, if you turn and run away from it, it knocks you over.
Yes.
The only way you don't knock over is if you go through it. You got to lean into the wave. And so that's how I think of things like that, right? This was a lean in moment. This was like, I've never done this before. I don't have the experience, but I bring something to the table that these investors don't. And we're equal on this footing. It's a symbiotic relationship. It is this institutional grade discipline with my creative discipline married together, this fluency of creative and financial that I don't think exists in the music industry. And so now let's go try to do something that no one's ever done before. And so while other people were buying catalogs, I don't think people were approaching it the same way we were approaching it. And we were building Seeker from the beginning by planting a seed as being one part creative, one part financial, strong at both. And both are just as important as the other. It's not, let's go buy rights and then figure out what to do with it. It's not, let's go sign a bunch of stuff and hopefully it's a success. It's like, let's go buy stuff that we love, that we have a strategy, we know how we're going to win with it, and that it makes good business sense. And finding when those align, then it's the perfect catalog for Seeker. And not having FOMO if we don't buy something. Other people can buy certain, it's just not right for us. Like I pass on so many things. Most of the things that come to me acquisition wise, I pass on. Because for a number of reasons. And first and foremost, I either don't love it or I don't know what to do with it. And I'm honest about that. But I think that leaning in those first 4 months, and then 6 months after that, we had bought 9 catalogs by the end of 2020, and then interest rates had gone down. And then everyone decided they were going to buy catalogs. And every week there was another person announced in like Billboard and Music Business World, like so-and-so's got 400 million here and 200 million here. And they're buying catalogs. And most of those people you never heard another announcement from them. They never bought anything.
You got to be real creative now.
Yeah, exactly. It became, I think at one point, one lawyer told me, I said, how many people are on your list when you're shopping a catalog? It was like the middle of 21. He said 150.
No way.
It got up to like 150 people buying catalogs.
That's insane. So multiples are just like multiple.
Well, no, there was like Merck bidding higher than anyone.
20x, 30x.
And then everybody else like 6x under him, pretty much even. And then once in a while you get like a Yahoo would come in who didn't know what they were doing, just dumb money and want to get in and overpay for something. And you're like, dude, you're going to lose on that one. And then you never hear from them again,
Fast forward for today, it didn't work for Merck. Those multiples were too high.
But it did work. Honestly, you could argue it did work for Merck. It didn't, at the end of the day, Hypnosis just sold, or Recognition just sold to Sony and made a ton of money for Blackstone.
It ended up making a ton with everything. All right. Hey,
so
long game pulled off then.
And to Merck's credit, like, he drove sentiment in the marketplace.
100%.
Like Seeker doesn't 100%. Like Seeker exists without Merck, but that's not why they got into it. But
you mean Hypnosis?
Well, Seeker
okay, I see
exists without Merck.
Yeah.
But the amount of business we were able to do and transact in 2020 was because of Merck.
Right.
Because he was hyping it up so hard.
Absolutely.
There were so many people. It wasn't like I was reaching out to people and they were like, yeah, we are definitely selling. I was like, oh, okay. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. Like, hey, if you're thinking about, people were like reading about articles in the New York Times. Like it was like a thing. And then sometimes also like, there was a lot of people who couldn't close deals with Merck who came to us too. Like so I actually appreciate what Merck did for the industry.
Of course.
But I know there's haters and I know that there's people who like, whatever, but there always is. But
I mean, he's the one that pushed that made with Hypnosis, with songs as an asset class and all that stuff really that made all the headlines and that got more and more people thinking that way. can we take a step back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm probably babbling. Or like,
We're too inside baseball right now. We got. I want to take a step back.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. There's other people in the room, Evan. It's not just you and I. So talking about education and you learning, let's go to class right now for a moment.
Okay, sure.
So we hear all the time, we being the average person hears all the time about like so-and-so just sold their catalog for X amount of dollars.
Right.
It's a big game right now. You're big in that game. How does that game work? Buying catalogs. What does it mean for the average person that's listening?
That's what you mean by taking a step back.
I want to take a step back before we go into the weeds.
Right.
Even though we've already gone into the weeds. So
Okay.
hope you stayed with us till now.
Yeah. When you write a song, when you create songs and you release them, they throw off a royalty.
Yeah.
How basic do you want me to get?
What is the business of mastering? What is the business of the master? And what is the business of publishing?
Right, exactly. So you write a song, you release a song, you're getting a royalty for the copyright, for the composition, you're getting a royalty for the recording side if you own both, right?
The recording side's the master.
Right.
The composition's the publisher.
Right. Okay. Those royalties will grow or decline based on, the different performance of those royalties. So if you're getting, there's different ways of earning royalties through, radio performance or mechanical royalties for record sales or streaming or synchronization. There's, all these different ways that generate the royalties. And so if you build a catalog, a portfolio, a tranche, I don't know which word to use, that's the dumbest down word to use, of those songs combined, they become a catalog.
Yeah. And
that catalog is a diversified group of assets that we, like, songwriters like to call songs, not assets, but the diversified group of
songs equal assets.
So diversified group of assets, IP, things you own.
Yep.
By the way, I think it's always great. Like I always tell people, songwriters are alchemists, right? We walk into a room and there's nothing, and we walk out of the room and we own an asset.
Yes.
Right. And we've created it. You don't see it, but you can hear it, but it's there.
Yeah.
And it generates money, and you could sell it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's intangible. And so it creates these royalty streams and the portfolio. Then you could take that and people will invest in it. They will bet on it, basically.
Yeah.
And they'll make educated bets on how the portfolio of assets, how that grouping of songs has performed historically.
Mm-hmm.
And they will look at those historical revenues, the money that the songs are putting off. I'm trying to say it and then also say it simply.
You're doing great.
And then decide how, based on the history and based on your perspective on forecasting where the industry is going, and based on the different income types, the different sources the money's coming from, performance, synchronization, performance would be like radio, streaming, etc. How you feel like that's going to perform going forward. And so a company like Seeker would then look at those historical cash flows,
Mm-hmm.
The royalties the songs are generating,
Yep.
and do our own analysis based on how they've done historically, based on what we know about the songs or the art. If it's an artist catalog, or what the artist is up to, if it's a songwriter catalog, who are the different artists with the different songs, and what pieces of those songs are we acquiring, the different splits, and there's a lot to take into consideration. And then you would decide how much you think that's going to earn over what period of time. And you would create a calculation that discounts the cash flows back, usually 5-10 years, depending on what your model is. And you would put a price on it that's a multiple of what it's earning in either the last 12 months or the 3-year average, depending on how everybody has their own different calculations of how they do things. And then you would make that offer and you'd say, hey, I think it's worth, let's say, just for simplicity's sake, let's say it's last 12 months, which they call LTM, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say your LTM is 10. You earned $10 million last year, right? And we would do this calculation into the future, and we would come back and say, well, we think that it's worth 100 million. That's a 10, I'm just keeping it simple.
Yeah.
A 10
multiple of 10.
A 10 multiple.
Yeah.
And in essence, it would be like if you earn $10 million for 10 years, it's 100 million.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we have now built an active management platform on top of these historical cash flows.
Yes.
So while we are looking at what organically and historically we think it's going to earn, we also at Seeker and at Primary Wave and at Reservoir and probably at Concord and BMG and other people who have active teams, active management teams, will be looking at like, what kind of uplift do you think we can create once we acquire these songs? What can we do with these songs?
Mm-hmm.
And that also influences how somebody might look at whether they want to buy a catalog or not.
Correct.
Why would somebody sell their catalog?
Yes.
Is a question somebody asks me sometimes.
Yeah.
And it plays into this, which is if you want to diversify your investments, like you're invested in your own catalog, right? You're
Mhm.
getting these royalties that come in either quarterly from BMI or ASCAP or whatever, or quarterly, monthly, or semi-annually, depending on what your publishing deal is, or your administration deal, or your record deal, if you're with an independent distributor or with a major. So they come in either monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, typically. And you could just sit on that and collect it when it comes in, or you could get the next 10 years
Mhm.
of royalties right now and go buy a house, invest in commercial real estate, put the money into the market, pay off debts, liens, things that you've been struggling with that are complicating your creative process because they're stressing you out. Whatever it is, right? You can reinvest that money in your life, and the smartest way to do that is to reinvest it in places that would also earn you money. So you've now
Yeah.
diversified your investments, you've diversified your assets, right? And so to me, I personally like acquiring catalogs from people who that's their perspective is, I'm going to take some money off the table and reinvest it in other places.
Yeah.
Like that's exciting to me because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm helping you grow your business.
Yes.
It makes me feel really good about it.
Mhm.
Why not to sell a catalog? And I think it's very important because I want to say this for anybody who's listening to this.
Yeah.
You do not sell a catalog because your manager thinks it's a good idea or your lawyer said you should do it. That is a terrible reason to sell your catalog.
They're just trying to get their percentage.
When somebody says, well, I don't really know anything about it, but like my team said it's like a good time to do it.
Yeah.
I'm always like, you shouldn't sell.
Yeah.
I've actually talked people, like successful people, out of selling their catalogs.
Wow.
Because I didn't think that they had a plan for it.
Right.
And I explained to them, or it wasn't seasoned enough. And I didn't feel like they were going to get paid what they should be getting paid.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is that a bad business? Am I a bad businessman for doing? But sometimes I'll talk people out of it. And,
you care.
And I honestly, I do.
Yeah.
I really do. And I try to advise people, especially songwriter friends who come to me and they're like, hey, I'm thinking about selling my catalog. Can I have a conversation with you? And I have to think in that moment, is that conversation, am I going to lead that conversation because into SEEKER'S the right home for you? Or am I going to lead that conversation away from SEEKER because SEEKER'S not the right home for you or I don't think you should be selling?
Right.
And I'll have honest conversations with people about it.
How big of an artist do you need to be in order to sell your catalog or songwriter?
There's no answer to that. Anyone can.
Anyone can.
There are companies out there, different business plans than SEEKER, different business strategies than SEEKER, who acquire catalogs or even songs, like a song, songs
Yep.
from independent, up and coming, emerging artists that are only streaming, that don't even have any sync or performance income at all, just streaming income. There's like a group of companies out there. That is actually a business strategy that several companies have taken.
Yep.
And that works for them. It's not what we do at SEEKER,
right?
Because we're investing in legacy and we're investing in brand and we're investing in extending legacy. But at some of these other companies out there, they will buy a song that's like 6 months old, a year old, 2 years old, that's streaming revenue only.
Yeah.
And it works for them.
Yep.
So I actually don't think there's an answer to how long does a song need to be out or how big of an artist do you need to be.
There's a buyer for anyone.
At this point now, there's a buyer for everyone.
Yeah. Interesting.
If that's of interest to you. Now, you're going to get a way low multiple.
Yeah.
If you're an unknown artist and you have streaming.
Of course.
And so maybe you're making like $50,000 a year and someone's going to give you like $200,000 and then you don't own it anymore.
Right.
And I hope you know what you're going to do with the $200,000.
Yeah. You better have a good plan for that money because they may go and make that song really successful, actually putting it in sync, do something, a way for it to make new money, and then you're not partaking.
Maybe, or and then that's the only money
you got.
From that. So I don't know. So it's, I think that Everybody has to have their own reason to do it. But
Yeah.
I don't think there's like a how big of an artist you need to be.
Right. Interesting. How do you determine multiples?
The same way we said earlier. I mean, we look at the historical cash flows, and we use our own perspective on curves, on growth and decay curves, based on genre, based on vintage, like how old a song is, based on predominantly where the revenue is coming from, both from a geographical standpoint and also from an income type standpoint. I mean, just to really dumb it down, like, sorry, I know I'm back into inside baseball on this, so let me dumb it down.
It's okay.
Like, if your song is earning just in the US, let's say country music is predominantly US driven revenue. There's a couple, Australia, UK, Canada, but like typically I look at a country catalog and it's like 80 to 90% of the revenue comes from the US.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies want more diversified revenue. They don't want to just have US centric revenue. And you might look at that in the sense of like recorded, the growth in recorded music, the growth in streaming adoption has slowed in the US because a lot of people have already adopted streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's growing exponentially outside the US, especially in like areas like Latin America and all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And so if a catalog is predominantly US centric, you might value that differently from a revenue standpoint than if it was much more balanced where the revenue is coming from globally, especially if it was earning in certain territories where the projections for the next 5 to 10 years are continued exponential growth in streaming. Right? You
can monetize those areas more.
Yeah. And so you look at that, but you also look at like, when did it come out? If it came out in the last 5 years, probably not what Seeker's looking at.
Yeah.
But there's other companies that specifically look at catalogs that came out in the last 5 years.
Yep.
Like for me, I look at like 7 years or older, and it depends how, the older it is, the more stable it might be. The cash flows, right? They may be more like steady and growing again, as opposed to in like a period of decay. Yes. A record that came out that was a hit 6 years ago, 7 years ago, definitely 5, but 6 or 7 years ago, may still be declining in revenue. And so you have to guess when it's going to stop declining and start growing again.
Yeah.
Which also changes based on genre and based on where the revenue's coming from. Mm-hmm. Country music is ephemeral. Pop music, if it's a smash hit, will fall off a cliff. Mm. There are other genres that have more of a quicker rebound after a hit. Like the decay doesn't take as long and then it grows again quicker. And so that will determine. And then also, is the money coming mostly from performance? Was it just a radio hit, but like didn't really do well? It did okay on streaming. And if you look at the Luminate data, which Luminate is a platform that can analyze, different metrics and analytics, streaming being primarily one of them. And you can look at that data and you can decide, okay, well, the revenue is dropping still, but the revenue, as we said earlier, sometimes you don't get paid until 9 months, 12 months, 18 months later. Yeah. The revenue is still in decline, but Luminate's growing, which means somewhere between this point right now on Luminate and when those royalties are coming from, it stabilized and it started growing again. Yeah. And so it's a lot. So and by the way, this is just scratching the surface of things we analyze when we're looking at a catalog. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. By the way, 6 years ago, I knew none of this.
Yeah, it's really good. And I think it's valuable for everyone to learn too about how this works, because you're also learning about the value of a song when it comes down to it and the lifespan of a song.
The biggest misconception for sellers, and when I say sellers, I don't just mean the writer or the artist themselves, I mean their teams, their managers, their business managers, their lawyers, is they look at the last 12 months or the 3-year average and they go, what do you mean you're only offering 10 million? He earned 2 million last year. And you're like, yeah. He earned 2 million last year because the song was a hit the year before.
Right.
And so I'm not going to earn 2 million next year when I buy the catalog. I'm going to earn 1.1 million. Mm-hmm. And the year after that, I'm going to earn 600,000. And the year after that, I'm going to earn 400,000. And the year after that, I'm going to earn 300,000. And then maybe 250. And then maybe 225. And then if we're lucky, 200. And then from there, maybe 210, maybe 218. maybe 230. Like the
It becomes nostalgia and grows again in other ways.
Yeah, but why would I pay
Yeah.
for $2 million?
Yeah, of course not.
When depending again on the genre and the song, et cetera, where what I'm really paying for in 5 years is $400,000.
Yep. Yep.
And that's hard for someone to understand. They're like, but my song is worth this much money. I'm like, you're making this much money on your song right now,
Yeah.
but I won't be making that much money on it going forward. I mean, if it's in decline.
Yes.
So now, obviously, when we look at catalogs like that are more vintage that we've done at Seeker, like a Joan Jett or Christopher Cross or the Go-Go's, like things like that, those are seasoned catalogs.
Yeah.
You're not really worrying about declining revenues at that point.
I remember when you called me and told me you bought the Run the Jewels catalog.
Yeah, Run the Jewels.
So sick. Okay, so congrats on the fundraise.
Oh, thanks.
So
yeah.
267 million asset-backed securitization. ABS is what they call it inside baseball.
Yeah. Also in baseball, that they call that like assisted
The ABS is the batting
ball strike, strike system, right?
Automated ball strike system. Yeah. You threw a strike.
I tapped my head.
Yeah.
They reviewed
Can we
it.
review this?
Yeah.
It's a strike. Okay, great. When the funds hit the account, that was the confirmation of it's a strike. Yeah. At ABS, the asset-backed securitization is when you bundle the future royalty income from your catalog and borrow against it, which we talked about earlier. So you guys should learn about that. It's not selling equity or anything like that. So, okay. So you raise all this money. How do you deploy all that capital?
It's a question I get every day from my investors.
It's a hard question because when you raise a lot of money, you got to spend all that money. You got to find good things.
When are you going to deploy this capital?
When are you going to put me on the board?
Yeah. Actually, I have my partners are incredible. There's investors that we started Seeker with, from the ones from the UK, M&G.
Mm-hmm.
And they are essentially an evergreen pool of capital. Like they're backed, they're backed by the life insurance fund, the Prudential Life Insurance Fund.
Oh, wow.
And so they have very patient capital.
Yeah.
Which has been, if you're going to build a music business from scratch, having investors who need to get out after 5, 6, 7, 10 years, because that's the life cycle, the maturity cycle of their fund, is not really in alignment with building a long-term music business. Mm-hmm. Because odds are the time that they need to get out is not going to be the right time for you as a company from an operational standpoint. And you're going to be scrambling to look for new investors to come in, and whatever your plans were, obviously out the window at that point, right? So you're like, and a lot of times you see a lot of these companies, they get sold, right? And then they don't exist and they get bought up, and, and that's the end of that thing. M&G from the beginning, from my first meeting with them, because, I don't buy catalogs, I build catalogs. I said, if you're looking to buy a bunch of catalogs and then flip them in 3 years, I'm the wrong guy. Mm-hmm. Find someone else.
Yeah.
And they said, no. We mean it. We want to build the next great independent music company from scratch that stand the test of time. We are a patient pool of capital, and we see the future in this. And to their credit, they've always they haven't wavered at all. I mean, they've constantly signaled long-term support and commitment, both M&G and the M&G Proof Fund, the Life Fund, who are sole backers outside of the money we raised, the debt side.
Yeah.
It's important from building an efficient capital structure to try to get your, the cost of money down, right? And especially keeps you competitive. So that's why you go and do a deal like an ABS deal, right? Mm-hmm. Because, the blended rate of your cost of capital with the cost of debt and interest rates lowers your cost of capital, and then you can, bid higher. Theoretically, you don't always want to, because you want to bet the benefit of the delta in between,
of course,
the space in between. When I start talking like a finance person, I'm like, who the hell is talking right now?
Say you're using
I said
blend
delta.
It's MBA talk.
Yeah, I know. But so
I had to learn these things too when I started Jamcard, and I had to raise money and all this stuff.
And so you do this deal, but M&G is still in. Like they're just fully in, and I think
awesome.
And I think what's cool about that is like they are. Being in the music business, you need to be patient to build a company and to have patient investors. So while I say they're always asking me, when am I going to deploy? They have never pressured me to deploy from day one. If I didn't deploy $1 this year, they'd be fine with it, so long as that was the right decision for Seeker.
Nice. That's beautiful, man.
And so I've never felt from them, you got to deploy, you got to deploy, you got to deploy. Now, obviously, they'd like for us to deploy,
Of course.
and we also want to scale. And like, we have ambitions to be a much bigger company as far as the assets we manage. But I've never felt that pressure.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's great because that can force you to make bad decisions.
it does force people
Yeah,
to make bad decisions.
Of course.
I also, going back to our North Star from the beginning, like I only buy catalogs of things that we love.
Yeah.
And so with that, even with that narrow scope of we have to love it, we have to have a strategy for it that we think we're uniquely positioned to win on. And a whole slew of things. Like we want to know that the writer or the artist or producer is going to stay involved because we work better in collaborations. We're a team. The thing about SEEKER'S, almost the entire company are people from frontline business, not catalog business. I've hired A&Rs, marketing people, digital marketing people, social people, sync people, all from record labels, management companies, publishers, like marketing companies, not from the catalog business.
Yeah.
I didn't hire people from like Rhino or Sony Legacy.
Yeah.
Right? Like we don't just do box sets and reissues, which is, we do box sets and reissues, but we don't just do box sets and reissues. It's part
You're really
of the plan.
creative with how you're going to monetize it.
We have a frontline team that looks at catalog with like, how do we break this again?
Yeah.
We know the songs are hits. We love them.
Yeah.
We want to celebrate them.
Yeah.
How do we celebrate them to millions, if not billions of new fans who may have not been exposed to this music?
Yeah.
And so we feel like we're on a mission to take this music that we love and introduce it to the world of people who haven't been introduced to it. And how we introduce it to the world is all through the same strategies that you would take if you were trying to break an artist or break a writer for the first time. Except we're not guessing like, I hope they think the song's a hit. We think the song's a hit. It's like, no, it's I Love Rock and Roll. We know the song's a hit. It's Ride Like the Wind. We know the song's a hit.
Yeah.
But how do we one of Joan Jett's biggest fans on earth is Chapel Roan.
Yeah.
How do you connect the dots between how much Chapel Roan talks about Joan Jett, her fans, and Joan Jett's music? Like that's something that we work on. It's like, how do we connect those dots so that Chapel Roan fans become fans of Joan Jett, not just Chapel Roan, right?
Yes.
And so that's a simple version to explain it, but that happens across all the catalogs. We've bought 40 catalogs now, almost 20,000 songs in 6 years. And that all of that done through the very narrow lens of, do we love it? Do we have a strategy? Is the artist still involved? Do we feel like there's sampleable songs here? I call it the flippability factor. Yeah. Like, can we sample it? Can we interpolate it? Can we remix it? Can we cover it? Yeah. Is there potential short form content virality?
Yes.
If you look historically at some of the songs in the catalog, have there already been organic audio trends without anybody working them? Like there's all of these metrics that we look at creatively. And I listed all the metrics we look at financially before. So all of those things I said financially that we look at, plus all of the things I'm telling you now creatively do we look at. What's the vintage? How has the vintage performed in our catalog with other things? Like, do you think, is this a new genre for us? Is that something we want to invest in? Like, do we have too much of this genre?
Yeah.
Like, we look at a giant list of things creatively and a giant list of things financially. And it's a very narrow funnel. And out of that funnel, I'd say maybe we've looked at 1,000 catalogs since 2020.
Wow.
And out of that 1,000 catalogs, we have probably only said, let's go deeper on maybe 200 of them.
Yeah.
And out of those 200, we've probably only sent 100 of them to our board to try to get approval to acquire. And out of those 100, we've acquired 40.
Wow.
And so our rate when we go to the board and we make an offer is 40%, which is a great hit rate.
That's a good hit rate.
But we pass on 80% of the catalogs that come to us for a myriad of reasons.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I know that if everything lines up on the creative and finance side and we get it in-house, we're going to win.
Yeah.
We're going to win at celebrating this catalog. We're going to extend the legacy. We're going to reach more fans. This artist, if they're still alive and they're touring, in the case of Joan or Chris, Run the Jewels, etc., is going to be thankful for us that we've helped them reach more fans. Like we're going to do right by these songs and these legacies. And that's what makes a songwriter get excited about running a catalog company.
Yeah.
The ability to work with these songs. I joked early on, I was like, it's either songs I wish I wrote or projects I wish I worked on or we're passing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of true.
I love it.
It's kind of true. Like when I hear a song like Tipsy, like Jaquan, in a catalog, I'm like, oh my God, those drums. I have sampled those drums like 10 times myself.
Yeah.
Someone's going to sample these drums and have a massive hit.
Yeah.
What Shaboozey did with it was not what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought when they were like, oh, Shaboozey's flipping Tipsy. I was like, oh my God, a country song on those drums. That's next level. And then when you hear it, you're like, oh no, you took the lyrics and you sang them as a country song.
Yeah.
What? Like, not what I would have done.
Yeah.
Totally not what I would have done. To me, like that stuff's so exciting to me. Like reinventing songs. I mean, that's how I got started. Like, first of all, SOS, Flip of Taint of Love.
Interpolation.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and when I was 13 and I wanted to be Premier and then Prince Paul and then RZA, and like that's how that's how I learned about music.
Yeah.
Buying, you know, soul and blues and jazz records and sampling them. Like that's how I learned who like Bob James was, or like Return to Forever and Chick Corea and like all these people. Like my parents didn't teach me that. They were listening to like popular music in the house. I learned about, you know, labels like Kudu and CTI and things like that from being a 13-year-old going into record stores and being like, this album cover looks cool. I wonder if there's a cool something to sample on it. Like Nautilus, that's cool. Let's take this home and listen to it. You know, and being like, oh wow, actually, 6 of my favorite rap songs have already sampled this record, right? Or like Touchdown, I mean, there are records that, you know, I don't know, whatever. I mean, like I could geek out over old vinyl too, but like that's how I feel with Seeker.
I love it.
It was like
excitement.
We bought New Shoes. You know who New Shoes is?
No.
Okay, but you know the song I Can't Wait. Do you know the song I Can't Wait?
You'd have to sing it to me.
Oh my God, I don't want to sing it to you. I'm like bum 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 bum.
Of course. Yeah. You nailed it.
I didn't want to sing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Like what?
Yeah.
We get
So
to work
cool.
with that song.
Yeah,
This
so
like
cool.
this song is like, and the rest of their catalog, which is not as well known, is so good. And so of that era of that moment in 80s music is so good. You know, or like Return of the Mac is in our catalog.
That's great.
I mean,
That's great.
these are amazing things. Or even like more popular things like Jay Sean, like to work with like Down, which is such a great record. We flipped Down into this country song that a bunch of people are interested in.
Nice.
Like it's so good. Like we did it with Oak and Taylor Parks and Sean Douglas, and they came in and they flipped Down into a country record. It's
sick.
So good.
That's fun, man. I love how much fun you're having with it. I can feel it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
We're just
amazing.
it's just having something now, you know, like sitting through some of the finance calls can be a little bit like, but I understand it now.
And you have to do it in order to be able
I have to do it, but it's more fun now because I understand it.
Yes.
You know, and at the beginning it was a little bit like, okay, I'm trying to keep up. But 6 years in, I just got back from London where I did an entire week of European finance media interviews for the whole week, which ended with me, I think I told you, going live on Bloomberg television as an expert talking about investing in music royalties as an asset class and the effect that AI is going to have on it.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Interscope Records University.
Yeah.
I'm the only person who probably did that who's been on Bloomberg television in the history of Bloomberg television.
That is awesome. It's like pretty much you and Jimmy are probably the only two.
Yeah. I don't know if he's been on Bloomberg, but he's probably skipped Bloomberg. He probably jumped over Bloomberg. He just went to like Larry King or something. Yeah. But it was crazy. Like in these conversations with the Financial Times and Bloomberg and like other things, to be able to sit there and like, and things come out of my mouth where I'm like, oh, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, man, you do.
This is cool.
6 years in.
It's more fun because of that.
Yeah, of course.
But it's the creative side, to be able to play with the music and the team we've built.
Yeah.
That's what gets me up the most every day.
You have become even more of an asset yourself in doing all this and
I'm
learning about
I'm an
all these
asset
things.
class.
Yes.
Elmo, I'm an asset class.
We are assets.
We are all assets.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Let's buy that.
By the way, someone shopped that recently. I'm not even kidding you. There's a catalog we looked at recently that had the Farmers song in it.
Awesome.
And Liberty. The same guy did Liberty, Liberty, Liberty.
That's awesome.
And they were both in the same catalog. But the problem with to me, that's like, oh my God, we should totally buy that. You could totally flip, like, I mean, if you think about like when Chingy did like Chain Hang Low, like you could totally flip Liberty, Liberty into like a dumb like summer hip hop song, right? But the problem with that is like those specifically are hard for Seeker to buy, because what if those commercials come off the air tomorrow?
Yeah.
What did you pay for?
Yeah.
The entire
Unless
revenue
they
stream.
have a 10-year contract.
Entire revenue stream goes to zero.
Yeah.
There's no terminal value.
It's not. It's true.
But it's hard to say no, because it's like, what? You know, the Farmers jingle? That's incredible.
That's why investing is risky.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. That's so fun. You are a crate digger supreme.
I mean, for real. I love that.
It's so great.
I love it.
It's so great. I'm very happy for you.
Thanks, man.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into you writing songs.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Oh, that old thing.
Okay.
Once upon a time.
So let's talk about Halo. You wrote Halo for Beyonce with Ryan Tedder.
Yep.
You, Ryan Tedder, wrote it for Beyonce. And Ryan Tedder wasn't the huge name Ryan Tedder yet, nor were you. You guys were both professionals in building your careers, but had momentum, but still it's not where you guys are now. You had already signed him to the agency. You guys write the song in 3 hours.
Yep.
Quick writing session. I had Jimmy Jam and Don Was on the podcast, and
I saw.
Oh, did you?
Pretty incredible.
Great guys. And I've talked with both of them about hit songs coming from the ether.
Yeah, that's for sure.
As Don Was says, you just like reach up there and pull them out of the ether.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way with Halo?
Very much so, in a very spooky way.
Whoa.
Too. And also like, I had spoken earlier about being sober.
Yeah.
I've been sober now over 21 years or 21 and
Congrats.
a half years. Yeah. Thank you. I just had my 21 and a half birthday.
Oh, worth it.
But the thing is like when I got sober, I started feeling really creative. And the point of that is like, I feel like inherently you have this antenna that you can receive messages through meditation or through other ways of doing it. And I feel like my antenna was blocked. And in sobriety, I started being really creative, which is I put together this girl group, with JR, a little bit of Ryan, before anyone knew who JR and Ryan were. And I ended up being forced to kind of write the songs for the girl group because I couldn't get any hits. Like JR and Ryan they weren't going to give me their A-list songs because they're trying to get those placed on other artists. So I was getting like good songs from them, but not great. So I was kind of forced to write the songs myself, which is where SOS came from.
Wow.
And I felt like my antenna had been blocked by outside influences, substances, or whatever, before I got sober. And now that I unblocked it, my antenna was up. And so I always think of it like that. I think like every song, every melody exists. And by the way, melody being the kind of intangible of intangibility. Like you could learn how to be a better lyricist. You could learn how to be a better musician or a producer. You could put in your 10,000 hours of both. You either hear melody or you don't. That's my opinion on that. And I think melody is captured by that antenna that you reach up and grab it thing. I think it's kind of like there's been sessions where I've been like, all of a sudden I'd sing something and I'd be like, whoa, who sang that? Like I literally didn't feel like it was me. Like some thing or universal spirit sang through me and something came out. And that's happened so many times. It happens when my phone's off in the session, by the way. It doesn't happen when your phone on. Your phone blocks. Your phone's like drugs. It blocks the signal. Yeah. I definitely think that songs are in the ether. I think every song has been written already. And it's can you tap into the frequency of that song in the moment, of that melody in the moment, and grab it and bring it into the session. And it's not easy to do. Obviously, everybody would do it. And even the people who do it more often than not don't hit home runs every time out.
Right.
And with Halo specifically, Ryan being on the road, One Republic was, they had Apologize had come out on Shock Value on the Timberland record. So he had a hit in that regard. And he'd also written Bleeding Love, which was also a big hit for Leona Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
So he wasn't what Ryan is now, but he was well regarded as like
Successful.
a new hit maker.
Yes.
And I had obviously SOS and Sean Kingston, Take You There, and a few other things, but neither of us were prepared for what Halo would become, obviously. Yeah. And Ryan was on the road with One Republic on tour and he ruptured his Achilles tendon.
Oh, yeah, playing basketball or something, right?
Yeah. And so if you think about it, like,
huge fear of mine.
Yeah, by the way, I don't play anymore because of it.
I was playing tennis about a year and a half ago, and I tore my calf.
There you go.
About 2 inches north of the Achilles. So luckily it healed on its own, but I couldn't walk for a couple months. And I think about it every day.
My kid's school is always like, you should play in the parents teachers basketball game. And I'm like, pass.
Yeah.
I am like the perfect age to tear my ACL or Achilles or something. It's not happening.
Sorry.
Okay. So but like that's the first thing. That's the first evidence of the universe at play. Ryan said once, I would gladly tear my Achilles again to write Halo again. But if he does not play basketball that day,
yeah.
if he does not tear his Achilles, there is no Halo.
Wow.
Okay, Ryan comes back to LA. I decide to cancel my session, go over and hang out with him on his first day back. His wife, Genevieve, leaves for work. Ryan hops up on his crutches and says, let's go write. Point 2 in universe. He was specifically told not to do that. And he did it anyway. But if he listened to the doctors, no Halo. Anyway, we go into his second room to write. And I used to, do you know Master Writer?
No.
I don't know if it still exists, but it was a rhyme dictionary / it would keep all of your concepts in it and like ideas and stuff. And I had all my concepts and ideas stored in there. And I had this giant list of song titles or lyrics that I would draw from if I was looking for an idea to start a song. And I was like, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, Jay Brown,
who runs Rock Nation now,
who was A&Ring the record.
Jay-Z's right hand.
Jay-Z's right hand since like childhood, right? Like grew up together.
Forever.
He said Jay Brown's looking for a love song for Beyonce. And we kind of knew, obviously the Beyonce Jay-Z thing was like not official kind of, they were together. We knew, everybody knew they weren't like going out to dinner together and stuff. But like, he was like, let's write a love song for, and we were like, what would like a Beyonce and a Jay-Z want to hear from each other? Like they're so like larger than life. Like what would be a love song? I mean, it's such a weird thing to try to write a love song between two people that are just larger than life, who have much more to deal with in being in a relationship with each other than just being in love.
Yeah.
All the outside forces and distractions and, press and publicists and everything. Right. And we were like, just feeling sheltered, like feeling safe with each other. And, forgive me if you heard this story before, but like there was this Ray LaMontagne record called Shelter, and it was trouble, but all of that stuff, right? That first record, all those songs are incredible.
Yeah.
But you will shelter me and I will shelter you was like the lyric from there, and we were like, what if we were like a shelter for them? And so I was going down this list, of songs and song titles in my thing, and Ryan was on the keyboard. He was like pulling up sounds and like shuffling through the sounds. And as I put my finger on the word Halo, I go, what about like a halo? Like surround you like a halo. Ryan, at the exact same time as I said that, hit chords, and it was an angelic pad that's in the song. And we kind of looked at each other like, whoa, that's spooky. We were like, that's it. And then, I mean, I remember bits and pieces from the session itself, but it was like, that
moved.
Done.
Yeah, done.
It was like we just went.
Yeah.
Lyrics were coming out, melodies were coming out. Ryan was laying vocals down, like we were just going. And it was like 3 hours later, he emailed it to Jay Brown, and he was like, amazing. And he's like, don't play this for anybody.
Yeah. He knew it.
Yeah,
he knew it.
Yeah, an hour later after we wrote it.
That's incredible, man. You've done a lot with Ryan. You've been friends for many years.
Yeah, Ryan's an alien.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And he's still going so hard.
Still
so motivated.
So prolific.
Yeah.
And I've watched him in the room direct a session. He's unlike anyone I've ever worked with.
So tell me about a session with you and Ryan Tedder. Like you're on lyrics, he's on the MIDI board. Like what exactly?
You know what? Actually, that's a really good question. As a songwriter, I think one of the things that a songwriter could do to be successful is figuring out really quickly what hat they're wearing in the room, right? What's their role that day in the room, and understanding the best songwriter collaborators are the ones who go into a session and think, I'm here to make my collaborator the best version of themselves. It's not about what I bring to the session. It's about how can I make them the best? And hopefully they're looking at you like, how can I make you the best? By the way, I feel like that's probably a good lesson for just being in any kind of relationship, a friendship, a romantic relationship, a business partnership, whatever. How do you make the other person the best version of themselves and support them and lead that way? And knowing how to wear hats. There are certain songwriters, when you walk into a room, it's you assessing whether, okay, I need to lead today, or I'm going to be the melody guy, or there's top liners in the room and I'm just going to work on the track, or this person is like what I like to call like the Terminator of songwriters. There's that are basically kind of like, come with me if you want to live, and the best example of that is, do you know the such a random, I always use this though, but it's great. It's like a Winter Olympic sport called curling.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
There are some songwriters where they throw the thing, they're that, and you're the broom guy. You're the broom guy. You're like,
helping it get forward.
You're like, I'm just going to sweep so it can help get their throw into the center, right?
And now slow down.
And there are some songwriters where it's like, going into that session, you're there to support them, and let them lead.
Yeah.
And I would say more often than not, Ryan's one of those guys where the best out of Ryan is when you can give him ideas, throw him ideas, what about this? What about that? And letting him just kind of like be Ryan, right? Which is like, he's so good at, and he's a great collaborator, but I feel like he's also just such an incredibly prolific writer. Yeah. So sometimes it's best to just support them. And he's not the only one. There's a ton of writers out there that are like that. And going into sessions with them, if you try to wrestle that away, usually they tell you your ideas suck. Yeah. But besides that, if you try to wrestle that away, it just creates disharmony in the session. So it's like knowing which hat to wear. So I think like writing with Ryan is letting Ryan spread his wings and be the best version of Ryan and figuring out ways to support him. And sometimes that's more involved, and sometimes that's less involved, but you kind of just need to go with the flow and check your ego at the door. It's not about you. It's not about him either. It's about the song. It's like, how do you be of service to the song?
It's so simple and perfect. And probably most people aren't doing it.
It's hard. I've been in a lot of sessions where songwriters come in there, especially younger songwriters, and they're just trying to prove that they should be in the room. Yeah. That's not how you write a song. Yeah, you don't need to like show how good you are. Yeah. Like that's not being a good collaborator. Just go write on your own then. Yeah. Yeah. Why are you in a session then?
That's not good in any collaboration of any sort.
Yeah. And like not listen. You got to listen. You got to go in the room and you got to listen. And then very quickly realize, okay, this is my place today. This is how I'm going to help everybody else win.
Beautiful. That's why you're winning so much, Evan. Yeah. Beyonce got a writing credit for the bridge vocal edit. Did she do any other writing on that, or was it really just that adjustment or that addition?
She wrote the word again.
Right. She wrote the word again.
But
the bridge.
But there was, I'm not going to say who, but somebody made an argument that there is an old copyright law that says if an artist breathes life into the song, that they should
get songwriting
credit. They should get a piece of the song. And if you were ever going, now no disrespect to Ryan's demo of it, it's awesome, and he performs it live all the time and kills it.
Yeah, he does.
But if you were ever going to make the argument that somebody breathes life into songs, it's Beyonce. Yeah, and it's hard to argue that. But I think that that song sung by anyone else is not the same song.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that song was meant to be for her. It was the universe who put it all into play. And I'm perfectly fine with her being a writer on the song. Also, by the way, her opera bridge is way better than the bridge we wrote.
Let's talk about splits for a moment. Splits.
I thought we were just talking about splits.
Let's talk about splits in general.
Okay.
Not just Beyonce split, but like as a songwriter, splits are obviously sacred. They're political. How do you handle that?
My default always is that it's even splits. I believe that the energy in the room writes the songs. And I feel like if you add or remove any human from the room, I'm saying human because we live in the world of like AI.
Don't say it.
No, didn't say it. If you add or remove any human from the room, you change the energy in the room.
Yeah.
If you were like, maybe that person said 3 lines that day, but maybe one of those lines is what made someone else think of something else, and they said a different line that became the line. If you remove the person from the room that only contributed 3 lines that day, or just a part of the melody, is the same chemistry there? And I just believe that the energy, the simplest way to look at it is whoever's in the room that day, when the song got started, you split it evenly, because it wouldn't have been the same, butterfly effect, matter affecting matter, atoms going from a chair into your body, whatever Neil deGrasse Tyson says and all that stuff. Like that's the same with songwriting. Yeah. And so for me, my default is even splits. I believe that to my core. And I wrote songs for many, many years where that was not the case, where I was on the lower receiving side of publishing, because producers for many, many years believed that they deserved 50% of the publishing because they produced the song. And it took a long, not in pop music and hip hop music and R&B music, not in Nashville. It's always been even splits in Nashville.
Mm.
They call it like the country splits, the Nashville splits. But like now it's changed in pop music, especially, but I think in most music. But for many, many years, there's many, many years where it was me, two other writers, and a producer in the room, and I ended up with 16% of a song as opposed to 25% of a song.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I live my life where I don't resent things like that. I don't regret those songs got me to the next song. They got me to the next song. They got me to the next song. So I don't regret, not to borrow a parlance from AA, I don't regret my past nor wish to shut the door on it. But I think about it, and I think about it in the sense of like where we've come as far as like songwriter equity in that regard, in regards to splits. But nothing gets me more riled up than when I think someone's getting taken advantage of, especially when it comes to stuff like splits. Like I want to like rile against somebody. Like I just feel so like the world is offended. There's been like there needs such an injustice.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, even splits, man, even splits. And, going back to the Beyonce thing for a second, like I wrote another song on that same album, the I Am Sasha Fierce album called Hello. Promise you was not done on purpose, Halo and Hello, but they both existed on the same album.
I could say hello. Is that how it goes?
No, You Had Me at Hello. It was like from Jerry Maguire.
I know the song.
Yeah, okay, yeah. She ended up rewriting all the verses, like a lot of the verses. And so she is a good songwriter. I feel like the best artists who are songwriters, and this is very much, there's always like this debate of like, Beyonce writes, she doesn't write, she takes credit, she shouldn't take credit, blah, blah, blah. But I will say this, the best artists who are also great songwriters know when not to fuck with a song.
Absolutely.
They do not have to imprint themselves on every song, and they know that.
Yeah.
They know if a song is great, I'm going to add the word again, and I think the bridge might be too wordy and too much. I think it would be beautiful if I did this kind of Ave Maria kind of opera thing on it.
Yes.
And that is her just like finishing the painting.
Yes.
That is worthy of songwriting credit.
Yeah.
And in Hello, she was like, I love the sentiment. I love the chorus. I love the music. But the verses, I want them to mean more to me. They don't feel like me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rewrite the verses so they're more personal to me. And she knew that's where she needed to change something.
Yes.
And so I think that like the best artists who are songwriters know when to not touch a song or touch the song a little bit or completely rewrite it. The worst artists who are songwriters are the ones who have to write on a song because they have to have publishing on their own songs that they didn't write from the jump. That is like one of those injustices that drives me nuts.
Yep.
Like, dude, you made the song worse.
Yeah.
Just so you could say you wrote on it.
Yeah.
Like, I would have rather you just said, can I have some publishing?
Yeah.
Than ruined the song.
Yeah, exactly. You're ruining it for everybody, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your Spidey sense for a moment.
Okay.
You were the first guy to discover many huge artists. So many times.
And discover is like a loose word because there's other people involved in their careers, but yes.
Of course. But
at that moment, yeah.
You have been the guy to hear something and been like, this is special early on before other people thought so.
I have been in many of the right places at the right time.
You were the first guy with Eminem, One Republic, and Ryan Tedder as a songwriter with Maroon 5 when they were Kara's Flowers. Where do you get this gut instinct from? Is it from your DNA from your mom and dad?
Sure. I don't know.
You've had it forever though?
Yeah.
You clearly had it forever because Em and all those stories, you're like 18, right?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of like nature, but it's also, I think, a little bit of nurture in the sense that I was brought up in a very diverse music family. I feel like when I went to high school, when I went to junior high school at Brentwood, I was friends with all of the different, it was very like separated, like the cliques of people. There was like the pep band, which like the Maroon guys were in, like there's like the school band class, and they all had little bands together that, pre-Kara's Flowers.
Yeah.
And, there was like, I played on the basketball team and a couple of those guys on the team, we started our hip hop group together, like a rap group together. And I was making the beats, and then there was like the rocker kids, and I would like sneak off and like smoke weed with and cigarettes and we would go to like Fish concerts and like, or not even like Rush concerts or like Van Halen concerts and things like that. Right. So there was like there was like, so like the jazz pep bandy kids, and then there was like the rock kids, and then there was like the rap kids, and then there was like the pop kids. And like, I was kind of in all of those circles. And I grew up in a family that was in the music industry. We listened to everything. If you think about when my dad signed, even at Casablanca, like Kiss, Parliament,
Yeah.
Donna Summer and the Village People, like very eclectic taste
Yes.
from my dad. And my mom, who, you know, discovered and managed Kiss and brought Kiss to my dad, and then we managed Donna Summer after they signed Donna, also very eclectic. And prior to that, my dad at Buddha Records was like, you know, he had like Curtis Mayfield, Bill Withers, Gladys Knight, the Isley Brothers, but also like,
So cool.
like is largely credited as being like the king of bubblegum pop.
Yeah.
Like yummy, 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 I got love in my tummy. Like that, and like Superfly. Like like how different could like Freddie's Dead and Yummy, Yummy, Yummy be, right? But
Maggot
like
brains.
exactly, right, exactly. Maggot brains and like Love to Love You Baby. You know, like, so I think I grew up in a household where my older brothers and older sister and my mom listened to a lot of music. We went to a lot of concerts. I was exposed to a lot of music. It wasn't told like, we don't, you know, it wasn't like told you don't listen to this kind of music. I was, you know, we listened to oldies but goodies, and we went to the Jackson 5 concerts, and we went everything. So when I got to high school, I felt like, what I like to say, I was the playlist generation before playlists existed. And if I made you a mixtape, you were very confused, because the things I would go from like Public Enemy to Nirvana, and like, you know, to Guns N' Roses, and to like, you know, Young MC, like, just like, it was just so to rant, soul to soul, just random stuff, whatever I was listening to in 7th grade, 8th grade. And so I feel like that in itself kind of became this knowledge of music, and listening to different types of music and meshing those types of musics. And I was the kid who went to school wearing like a jean jacket with like patches on the back that were like Skid Row, Guns N' Roses, Metallica patches on the back, with like a Public Enemy medallion around my neck.
Yes.
And a Beastie Boys Run DMC t-shirt on, like very confusing to people. Like people would go like, what? Like who, what? No, they couldn't understand it. And I think that in itself informed my, you know, my ability to hear different types of music.
Yeah.
And so, and not just one genre or something like that,
Yeah.
you know? And then that plus, I think, I don't know, my dad had a great ear.
Yeah.
My mom had a great ear. And I don't know, like there's gotta be something in the DNA with that, right? Like there has to be, and I'm the only son, I'm the only child from my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
I have brothers and sisters, but they all are halves.
Oh, okay.
And so the only one from the marriage of my mom and my dad is me. And so I feel like I got like the best of both of them.
Yeah.
Plus the exposure to so many different kinds of music growing up. I don't know. I don't, other than that, I don't know why.
There's no like specific feeling that you get that spidey sense gives you, a certain tingle or something that you've realized, oh wait, I've had this feeling before. It's
100%. It's the same voice that tells me whether this song, the bridge is not good, or the pre-chorus could be better. I have this like little, I think everybody has it, by the way.
Yeah.
It's this little voice in like the pit of your stomach
that
says like, this is wrong or this is right. And I think mostly we spend most of our lives pushing it down because we're afraid.
Listen,
you know, I think a lot of people want to write, people think that like, we finished a song today and everybody high fives. We did it. We wrote a song, high five. But like in your pit of the stomach, you know, the chorus isn't good. Why did you finish it?
Yeah.
Why didn't you keep working on it, set up another day and come back on it?
Yeah.
But you were just like, it's easier to just finish it and move on. And I think a lot of great songs, great parts of songs are left on the floor because people don't listen to the voice in their stomach. And I think it's the same voice that says to me, like, there is something absolutely special here. Do not listen to the doubts in your head. You are right.
Nice.
You are right.
I love that.
There's an artist we put out at Seeker. She hasn't blown up, but it's really cool what she's doing. And a writer of ours played me a demo of hers, and it was the verse and the pre-chorus and the chorus. The verse and the pre-chorus were incredible. The chorus was terrible, and the rest of the song was terrible. But I was like, we have to sign her. People are like, why? And I'm like, I'm just telling you, there's something in this verse and pre-chorus that tells me that she's incredible. And she is incredible. She just hasn't broken yet.
What's her name?
Mara, M-R-A.
Oh yeah.
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 She's
incredible voice.
Super dope.
Yeah.
Incredible
voice.
And by the way, the verse and the pre-chorus sound nothing like the music she's making now. MNDR produced this record that she's doing. Like it's so out there and so wild. I couldn't even imagine they would have pushed it as far as they have. It's amazing. But the verse and pre-chorus, there was just something about it where I was like, we're signing her. I don't care what anybody else says. There's just something there.
Yeah.
You know,
listen to that little guy.
Yeah, man. Listen more.
Yeah.
I feel like the universe is talking to you. The question is, do you listen? The question is, do you stop talking and sit there and listen?
Pay attention.
I mean, they say in not to keep referencing AA, but it's such a huge part of my life. But they say praying is you talking to God and meditating is you hearing him. You're listening for him, right? And you don't have to meditate. You don't have to pray. I don't care. You don't have to believe in God. I don't care. But I do think that the universe, there is some greater existence and connection between all of us. And I do feel like that's where the melody comes from. That's what Don was talking about, right? That's where instincts come from. It's all that. It's this layer of energy that exists. You have to tap into it in some way, your own way.
Let's talk about Eminem. Speaking of discovering things. So you're the intern that Eminem talks about. You were about 18, 19, just promoted from the Interscope mailroom to A&R floater. You were working on Tupac's first posthumous album.
Yeah.
You get tipped to go to the Rap Olympics.
Yeah.
Freestyle battle in Inglewood, 1997. Eminem loses the finals.
Yeah.
But you still knew. And you got his mixtape.
I don't know how anyone in that room didn't know.
Yeah, it must have been.
That's how much I knew.
Right.
Like I was like, is everybody else seeing this? Like, this is like as a hip hop head.
Yeah.
I had never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I was like jaw to the ground. Like I've never seen it. Like the things that he was saying were like, I'd never seen anyone say that before. Wow. And also, we were living in a post Marky Mark Vanilla Ice pre Eminem world, where I had also unsuccessfully shot my own demo as a rapper, where there wasn't as much diversity in hip hop. At the time, I think there wasn't as much inclusion and acceptance to get signed. Like you had to have like real street cred, and you had to have like you had to be co-signed by somebody else in the industry. Right. Like there was a whole other there was ways. And by the way, even getting signed in the 90s, I mean, the barrier of trying to get signed as any artist in any genre was so hard back then. Yeah. First of all, like it's so expensive to make a demo.
Yeah.
Renting a studio and buying
tape,
2-inch tape, and like the insanity that went into actually being able to afford to make a demo. Yeah. And then you had to be repped by like one of like 10 lawyers, like Don Passman, Peter Paterno, Kim Guggenheim. Like there were like 10 lawyers that either repped you. If you weren't repped by them, no one was taking you seriously. Right. Yep. And so, or maybe like one of 5 managers, like Andy Kaplan or I don't know, whoever. Right. And so
Irving.
Yeah, exactly. If Irving called you, they were listening to your demo. Right. Yeah. But that was it. Right. And so, I think the ability to actually get a record deal in the 90s, it amazes me that anyone ever got signed. And having worked at Interscope, I would watch as the amount of demos would come in. And if they weren't from like so they weren't solicited by someone that they knew, they would just go in the trash.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if it was good or not.
Yeah.
And then if they were solicited by someone they knew, you would take these elaborate EPKs with these like, folders that spent $10 to $20 on, $30 on these glossy folders and photos with bios and like postcards and stickers and patches and this and that. And you would take the cassette out and they would say, oh, just bundle the letter, like the hey, this is so-and-so and this is this band. Give me a call if you like it. Take that letter and you would rubber band it to the cassette and put it in a pile with like hundreds of cassettes on an A&R guy's desk. And you would take this very expensive thing and you would throw it in the trash. And then like 3 weeks later, 6 weeks later, whenever that tape got listened to, if they're like, that's actually pretty good, call them and ask them for a folder, like a folder. So like that entire folder you threw out, they'd send a whole other one.
Oh.
It was like the amount that what had to happen in order to get a record deal, I mean, then you had the anomalies like Smash Mouth. They had like Walking on the Sun playing on K-Rock and they were unsigned. So like everyone was trying to sign them. So like
though, as you said,
there was an outlier, right?
Yeah.
But like, I think that, it's amazing that anyone got signed ever. And Eminem is an example of that, because even with, you know, me playing hooky from Tupac and almost getting fired to going to that freestyle contest because my friend Cassidy, who was DJing, was like, you got to get down here. I don't care what it takes. Going down there, seeing him lose, going up to him, handing him my fake business cards that I had made because they hadn't made me business cards. I had taken buck slips and I'd cut them down to business cards and wrote my cell phone number in the back, and going up to him and his manager at the time, Mark, and being like, hey, I work at Interscope and A&R, you know, I was a floater, but whatever that meant. And, you know, you're amazing, this and that. And they gave me the Slim Shady EP sampler cassette.
So good.
And driving home, listening to that in my car with like, I'd never heard anything like it. It was like just the two of us. If I had a song called Low Down and Dirty, which didn't make his first album, a couple other songs. And it was just like, I had never heard anything like it. And then the next 5 months of trying to get anyone to pay attention to it. And then him coming into town and then slipping the tape in Jimmy's bag. And then Dre having to take the tape out of his bag and playing it randomly out of all the tapes. Now that Jimmy had like a demo bag that would sit behind his assistant's desk, and all week
Jimmy Iovine
and all the A&Rs at Interscope who wanted Jimmy to hear something would come in and stick their cassette demos into that demo bag. And at the end of the week, you know, Jimmy's driver, Steve, which is actually his name, would grab the demo bag and cinch it up and take it with it, and Jimmy would go home with it. And I don't know if Jimmy listens to it, when he listens to it. I wasn't in Jimmy's world. So, but that bag was filled with lots of demo tapes, or maybe the new version of a No Doubt album or something that Jimmy had to listen to.
Yeah.
And for Dre to then pick that one out and listen to it that night while Eminem happened to be in town that weekend doing radio.
Yeah.
How is the universe not at play there?
Right.
Eminem was meant to be what Eminem is today.
Yeah.
And that is all of the proof that I need.
Yeah.
Because all of the things that needed to go right in order for Eminem to happen, happened. And by the way, I do not want to take credit for all of this. So mind you, I'm not saying I should get credit for all of this, but if you continue the domino falling effect of me going to the freestyle contest, Eminem being in town, Dre hearing the tape, me going lean in, put the tape in the bag. I don't care if I told
and even before that, you were trying to get Tom Wally to
pay
attention.
Every A&R passed on it,
Yeah.
and I could tell you what they all said, but I won't because I don't want to embarrass them. But no, but you know who you are.
What did they say? Give us one. Give us one.
There was another white rapper out of New York named Cage, who Eminem was like actually feuding with, who never became big. But the one guy was like, I don't know, I kind of prefer Cage. I was like, how did that work out?
Yeah.
But there was a lot of, you know, there's a lot of I don't get it. There's a lot I just don't get it.
You were continuing the domino.
Yeah, but the domino effect, right? So going there, the tape in the bag, him listening to it, M being in town, not signing with somebody else in the meantime. There were other labels that were interested. He had already been unsigned hype in The Source. So like, it wasn't like people didn't know about him. Making the record essentially being shelved.
Wow.
The music video happening. Hi, My Name Is music video happening, which I believe Dr. Dre and the director Philip Atwell paid for out of their own pocket.
Wow.
That video, Jimmy having the foresight to go to MTV with that video to basically break a record, which I think was like maybe the first time a video ever broke a record on radio. Like the video went to MTV before the song went to radio. The radio was forced to play it because of how big the song got on MTV because of the video.
Amazing.
Then the record all of a sudden not essentially because they didn't know what to do with it, and then putting it out and then it blowing up to the way it did. Okay, Dre's back, right?
Yeah.
Then came Snoop's back. Then came 50 Cent in the game, and Exhibit having a moment. Then came Beats by Dre. Then came Beats Music. Then came Apple Music. I mean, if you look at this domino falling from this freestyle contest in Inglewood.
Wow.
And you extend it all the way out to all the things that maybe would have happened, but maybe would have happened differently. You don't know, right? they all might have been destined to happen in their own way. But this specific timeline, if we believe in this multiversal, you said spidey senses, so let's take the Avengers approach of multiverses. If you believe in this universe that we live in this timeline that we live in, this domino effect, again, I don't want to take credit for it. I'm not taking credit for all this stuff. A lot of people, very smart people, spent a lot of time and money and brilliant ideas and came up with all these ideas. I had nothing to do with the 50 Cent album or the creation of Apple Music. But that moment led to this moment, to that moment, to blah, 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 blah. This domino that kept falling changed how we listen to music, changed popular culture, changed everything.
Yeah.
And if you want to give credit to anyone, it's really Eminem. Like Eminem kind of should get credit for the music industry of the last 20 years. Isn't it? It's a kind of a weird thing to think about.
It's crazy.
But all of the things that, but if not for Eminem blowing up and not being who he was and being 100%, having 100% conviction in who he was and just saying whatever he wanted to say and being that brilliant. But if not for that.
And for you having that 100% conviction in him, like bringing it to every A&R, trying to get it, everyone being like, no, you sneaking it into Jimmy's bag. And then that happens. And then you end up working on the record as an A&R and you do all that stuff.
But I was also one in the line of that domino, right? Like the Bass brothers, Jeff and Mark Bass, they saw that in Eminem when he was 15. And they signed him to Web Entertainment well before I ever met him. And they're the ones, who I became close with and started working with a lot, when the M stuff happened. Like, I love Marky and Jeff, and their team in Detroit are the ones who like really took him in and nurtured him.
You still doing your thing of like banging on the doors and still going when everyone's saying no. You taking it and trying your best. So what advice would you give to someone who feels that they have something that hasn't been recognized yet?
Just keep putting it out there. Persistence, resilience, conviction. If you believe that you have something special, I think keep putting it in front of people. You'll find your people.
Yeah.
You'll find your people. You'll find your fans. And share your music. Don't be precious with it. Like, put it out there. Find a community. Build a community. Find people that like your music. You like their music, and collaborate with them. Like, I think community is everything in this world, but in the music industry, in the creative music industry. I think finding your crew.
Yes.
And I think just if you have conviction that what you're making is something special, just get it out there.
What is the best lesson you learned from Eminem?
There's two. The first one, my mom would say is always get paperwork signed. It was really funny. You should have signed some paperwork with him beforehand. I was a kid at the Interscope. I was doing my job as an A&R. I wasn't trying to sign him to a side deal.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, make sure your business is straight, obviously. I don't think I would have done anything differently though, with respect to that. I think I would have done that the same way. What I would have done differently, probably the bigger lesson that I learned, was I had this like air of self-entitlement that I felt like someone owed me something, as opposed to like being one of the things that you contribute and like part of your journey. I kind of felt like offended that I wasn't like given my flowers in the moment. If I had just been like, okay, cool, let me go do it again. Okay, cool, let me go do it again. I'm going to show them. As opposed to like this like resentment that I let build up on me because it was like, I felt like I wasn't getting credit that I deserved or something at the time. And so for me, like that lesson is really just not to keep bringing up the universe, but like listening to the universe and like looking for the signs. And I feel like what the universe was telling me there was, hey, you can do this. But not like, this is your moment. It was like, you can do this. We're just telling you right now, like, this is something you could do it again. And trying to give me the confidence to do it again. And I couldn't see that. I was 19 years old. I was full of like, I need to prove to the world that I'm not my dad. And like all these like crazy like thoughts that you think of as you're a kid. I gotta carve my own path and like, and living in the shadow of this music industry legend. And I had this kind of false sense of entitlement, like someone owed me something. This A&R guy who worked at Interscope said that at one point he went into Jimmy's office and said, Evan Bogart brought in Eminem. And now I wasn't in the office. So this A&R guy told me this, and Jimmy said, what does he want, a cookie? Yo, straight up, he's right.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah.
What did I want, a cookie?
Yeah.
I was a junior level A&R person. Good job, kid. Go do it again.
Yeah. You'll be up here one day.
Hard
Keep
work.
going. Yeah.
Resilience, persistence, ambition. Like, lean in. Like, don't lean out.
Yeah.
And what I did is I leaned out.
Yeah.
I got fearful and I got resentful.
Yeah.
And I didn't pick up the signs from the universe, and I ran away from it.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. And I'll never do that.
Yes.
I always look for the open door.
Beautiful. Lean in.
Lean in.
A&R has changed so much over time, right? From your dad's time to your time coming up.
Yeah.
To where we're at now. What is modern day A&Ring? Is it dead?
Oh, modern day A&Ring. I mean, I think a lot of the A&Ring of records are being done by the producers and the songwriters.
Mm-hmm.
Not to take away from, there are some A&Rs who are incredible at making records as well. And I think a lot of them have creative backgrounds. You know, I think you see someone like a Zeke become running Epic Records, and you're like, I mean, when I started writing, I just wanted to be the clutch. Like, I was like, oh man, Zeke, Balewa, JQ, Carrie, Candace. I was like, I want to be the clutch. You know, so when I see Zeke running Epic, I'm like, that makes sense to me. Yeah. Having a song, I mean, obviously it makes sense to me as having a songwriter run a company.
We should run it all.
Songwriters should run companies, you know. But I think, you know, a lot of the A&R people that are the most successful are the ones who understand how to make records, you know, and understand what goes into making records. And outside of that, I think producers and writers themselves are becoming like the artist whisperer, the A&Rs that are actually making the records in the room and actually, you know, and seeing through. And you have like a, you know, like obviously I wasn't in the room with like, I don't know, let's say Dan Nigro and Olivia Rodrigo, but I'm going to guess that together, if not Dan, A&R that record. Right. That first record, right? Like they created that sound together, right? Yeah. And so, by the way, how is that different from how it used to be? Because what it used to be, we're talking about the Brill Building days and things like that. Like if you go back to how records used to be made, it was the creatives who were A&Ring the records. Yeah. You know, and then you would get an anomaly like a Clive Davis or somebody who would come in and be just as brilliant as anybody, or more brilliant than anybody. You just hear a record. But you know, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are A&Ring Janet Jackson. For sure. Right? Like, for sure. And so I think we've gone back to those days. I don't think we've gone somewhere we haven't been before. I think the power of A&R has returned to the creator. Right. I think it's true. I think most records these days are A&R'd by the creators themselves. Let's talk about the Recording Academy. Oh my God.
All right. So Evan, you are the vice chair of the Recording Academy and co-chair of the Songwriter and Composers Wing, which you helped put together and create 4 years ago now?
Yeah, for 2021, so 5 years ago.
Okay, so, and for context for the audience, Recording Academy is the organization behind the Grammys, in case you don't know that, but it's also a huge member body and advocacy machine that lobbies in Washington on behalf of music creators. And
not just in Washington. I mean, advocates for, you know, every music creator, genre, craft, you know, that you can think of. I mean, they're doing education, mentorship programs, and, you know, networking, everything.
Absolutely. There's so much, with Grammy U and then the Grammy Museum, and there's Music Cares. There's a lot in the Grammy world, or the Recording Academy world. What does a vice chair actually do?
Such a great question.
I'm curious.
The board of trustees is a group of Recording Academy members who have been elected to serve on basically as a national board, a body of trustees, a group of people who come together to you know, help set policies and direction and strategy for the Recording Academy. The Grammys are a membership-led organization, and so there's this really unique symbiosis, similar to like me and MNG with Seeker, where you have the Recording Academy staff and you have the elected leaders at the Grammys, both at the national level and at the chapter level, because there's 12 chapters that have their own boards. Yep. And all of those decisions of the direction for the Grammys, the Recording Academy that they're going to take are made in concert with both.
Yeah.
And it's very unique and very cool how that works. Right. And so, while you have like Harvey Mason Jr., who's the CEO on the, I was called like the Recording Academy business side, you have Dr. Chelsea Green, who's the chair on the trustee side and the membership side, and they work in concert with each other to basically steer the Recording Academy forward into the next, couple of years or however long Chelsea is serving or Harvey works there or whatever. And there's always a new election where, different people become chair. In the past, Jimmy Jam has been a chair.
Yep.
Harvey was a chair himself.
Yep.
Right? There's been, so, the vice chair serves in a support role to the chair, also, is a leader in the room of board of trustees.
Yes.
But the way I view the role of vice chair is, in addition to having my own things in the Recording Academy that I'm passionate about, such as songwriters or composers or awards and things, advocacy, things that I get involved in, I also am there to support Chelsea and her vision for how she wants to be chair and helping her push forward, her agenda and of how she wants to move the Grammys forward.
Yeah.
Think of it as like a vice president.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's what I think about it. I'm there to be the best number two that I can be and support Chelsea in leading the board of trustees.
Right. And being on the board, obviously different than like operational employee. So, part-time board is a part-time, like how much of a commitment is this? Of course everything is an all the time thing.
I have always called my service work at the Recording Academy, even back when I was the governor and the LA chapter, my full-time volunteer job.
Yes. Full-time volunteer. That tracks.
I have a full-time job. I have a full-time family, and I have a full-time volunteer job.
Yeah.
And look, at the end of the day, we do it because we love it. We do it because we care about the music community, and we want to make the world a better place for music creators and professionals and that support the music creators. And I think the people who sign up to become a trustee or even a governor, but especially a trustee, like there is a certain level of respect that I have for them, where they're giving up, they're dedicating, they're all working professionals, musicians, et cetera. And they're dedicating a lot of their time to this cause of making the world a better place for music creators. And none more than watching Dr. Green.
Yeah.
And how committed and how much work she puts in.
That's amazing.
She's an incredible advocate for music creators, and an educator. And it's been incredible to watch her, and I'm also in awe of how much she puts into it.
Yes, that's amazing. Shout out to Chelsea.
Shout out to Chelsea Green.
What's up, Chelsea? So you and a small group of people, made the Songwriter of the Year award.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so when we started the Songwriters and Composers wing, that was our first thing on our agenda, was like, when they had the Producers and Engineers wing, and they've had the Producer of the Year award since like 1975, I think.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, start the Songwriters and Composers wing. Like, we should have a Songwriter of the Year. There's no reason why we shouldn't have a Songwriter of the Year award.
Absolutely.
We should have had a Songwriter of the Year award. We
Correct.
feel like it was a glaring omission not to have a Songwriter of the Year award.
Correct.
And so we used the wing as like the start of building that out. And after the wing was built, that became one of the first things on our agenda at the wing, was to create, look at all the different ways that the Recording Academy serves members and serves the music community. It's yes, advocacy, yes, mentorship and education, yes, through philanthropy, but also through recognition, right? Mm-hmm. The awards themselves, the Grammy Awards, is a huge way that we support the music creator community and make the world a better place, is by honoring people for the work that they do. And when certain groups of music creators who are instrumental in the success of creations that are being honored are not being properly awarded and recognized for that work, that's an omission.
Yeah.
And so we decided that was an omission that we felt like, and we myself, Ross Golan, and the entire leadership council at the Songwriters and Composers wing crafted a proposal together that we put in front of the awards and nominations committee and the trustees. And I'm beyond grateful that they all supported it, and they saw that, that it was a good idea, and it got passed. Prior to that, Ross and I had, before there was the Songwriters and Composers Wing, before Harvey was the CEO, before any of it, in 2000, and Harvey was a trustee, but before Chelsea and Harvey and this whole thing, do you know Tammy Hurt?
Yeah, I know Tammy.
Yeah, you guys are drummers. I feel
Yeah.
all drummers know each other, right?
Of course.
You guys all talk to each other. You're like a drummer WhatsApp or something, right?
Yes. Everyone responds at once, right on the downbeat.
But Tammy also incredible chair prior to Chelsea. Chelsea was the vice chair to Tammy.
Yeah.
And Tammy's the chair emeritus now, and is just so inspiring just to learn from her. She's so experienced and knows so much about how the Grammys and Recording Academy works. And but so prior to Tammy and Chelsea and Harvey, being there in 2018, Ross and I had written, it was my first time learning how all this works. We had written this proposal to add songwriters to the Album of the Year award.
Right.
Which,
because they were not partaking
if
when even the mixing engineer was, and mastering, like everybody
who worked on the album, but there was a threshold, like you had to work on a certain amount of the album.
Yeah.
Everybody who worked over a certain amount on the album would win, and except for the songwriter.
That's so crazy. The guy that wrote the song, guy or girl that wrote the song.
But what if you wrote the whole album?
Yeah.
What if you were there?
Yeah.
What if you were the writer for the whole album? And then the mastering engineer spent 6 hours on it? Not to take away from what mastering engineers do, but I'm just saying the amount of time that sometimes a mastering engineer puts in. If a songwriter ends up writing, like they had
a wing.
They did. They did have a wing. That's a good point. The first songwriter ever to win Album of the Year,
my boy,
is James Fauntleroy.
And
that's a really good example because he wrote a majority
with Bruno
of the
Mars.
Bruno Mars album, right? Had the Bruno Mars album won Album of the Year and James not won, the album would never been that album without James.
He's also like singing on it and stacking the harmonies and being James. Yeah.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, and so I think we corrected an egregious omission with that one. And then again with Songwriter of the Year award.
That was an egregious omission.
Yeah.
I'm going to start saying that more. Well, thanks for doing that. All songwriters. Do songwriters love you, Evan? Are they grateful enough?
I don't know, man.
Do they say thank you?
No, I don't care, honestly.
Appreciate
but that's not why I do it.
I know, but that's why I want to see.
It goes back to what I said before about when I see there's an injustice, like it just buries itself in me, and I have to do something about it. It drives me crazy.
You got to fix it.
I got to fight for the man.
I love it, bro. I love everything you're doing with that. So, okay, it's really interesting to like learn about like the machine behind the show, because most people that aren't Recording Academy members don't understand what goes on. They just think the Grammys or whatever, and they don't understand the difference and everything that goes on. So it's really interesting hearing about, like, I remember when I first started getting involved and first became a voting member and all that stuff many years ago. I was on one of the boards with you. We did something together, or one of the committees, excuse me.
Were you on the LA chapter?
Yeah, I was LA chapter.
Yeah.
You called me for it.
Yeah.
And we did a few things. We had Harvey come and speak at the Jam. We did a panel, you, me, and Harvey.
Oh, yeah,
just tell people more about what being a member actually is.
Right. I remember that.
Bring in the Jam Card community.
I remember that, yeah.
I would love to, because you're behind a few fights right now, right? So one of the fights is this whole AI thing, which we're going to get to. But first, before we do that, I want to get to the mechanical rate fight. First of all, can you explain to people what a mechanical is?
Oh, man.
Sorry. This is an educational podcast.
But it's so inside baseball, I guess, at that point.
No, but we need to know, if a lot of people listen to the show, especially 2 hours into these episodes, like it's
the rate in which you get paid the royalty, right? Like that's what the rate is. And it's set by the Copyright Royalty Board. They set the rates.
Yes.
So it's government regulated, which, by the way, is not the case all over the world. It's U.S. is the music industry is the most regulated music industry, period.
Why?
Industry.
Why?
Most regulated industry. And the rate is set by this board. And I think it's funny that it's called a mechanical rate, because it obviously refers to like the pressing of music, which doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
But it's better than the digital, the streaming rate.
Yeah.
Streaming mechanical rate is different from the actual physical mechanical rate, which is much higher. Which is, again, goes back to when physical products were sold and you wrote an album cut, you could buy a house. That's what the mechanical rate is. Does that make sense? Make sense?
Yes. So
because it doesn't to a lot of people.
Where does the fight stand now?
I believe we're coming up on the new, every 5 years, there's a new rate set or review. And I believe we're coming up on the new CRB review. I think maybe it's next year, I want to say.
Okay.
So what you'll end up having is like the NMPA, led by, the brilliant David Israelite will, in concert with publishers and the rest of the publishers on the board and people in the industry, put together a case to go in there to try to improve rates and other things like other terms. There was an issue with Spotify's bundling. Like there's going to be things like that are going to be tried to dealt with in this new CRB proceeding.
Yeah. Sounds like a pain in the ass.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And the work, the success that's happened since then, the combination of things like the CRB rulings, the Music Modernization Act and the creation of the MLC and everything like that is all of that has gotten better for songwriters and publishers.
Right.
It's still not where it was.
Yeah.
But it continuously gets better.
Yeah.
And with the global recorded music industry growing as fast as it is globally, the combination of those things getting better plus the amount that things are being consumed will continuously earn more money for music creators.
Right.
But it's nowhere near where it should be. And that's why we've essentially lost the middle class of songwriter.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate. Now here we are in 2026 and we have AI has entered the building.
Yeah.
We're a few years in and it is the fastest growing thing.
Which is interesting. The AI thing is interesting because I feel like the music industry learned from its mistakes a little bit, where if you look back at Napster and you think about how much we were just like, that's not a thing. It was like, first of all, it was like, it's denial that it was a problem in the first place. And then it was like, it was a problem and it was like, but who cares? And then it was like, okay, wait, actually, maybe we should sue them.
Yeah.
Instead of embrace them and, figure out how it works for you. It became a fight.
Yeah.
And then by the time that was over, again, like you said, it was way too late.
Way too late.
And I think that the music industry, I guess I'm old, you're probably old enough to have seen this happen a few times where the music industry goes through these short periods of disruption and then these long periods of growth based on how the short period of disruption was resolved. Yeah. And I think we're in the short period of disruption right now in AI, right? And I truly believe that once everything is figured out, and I know that's such a figured out seems so simplistic. It's not simple at all. But once everything is figured out as far as licensing deals, guardrails, protections for IP, name, image, likeness, etc. Once the deals are in place for how to monetize that, we're going to see a long period of growth, and where I think AI becomes the future of how people consume music in a way that becomes even more bespoke for their own taste making. Hey, Gemini or Claude, whoever you use. Hey, I'm just kind of feeling in the dumps today, and I just need a playlist that's gonna kind of pep me up and inspire me. But I don't want anything from the 2000s or later. I just want something from 1984 to 1997, and don't put anything that's R&B and hip hop or rock. I just want popular music, and maybe you could throw in a little bit of jazz. Here's your playlist. Yeah. I mean, that's cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? But obviously we want to make sure that the creators are not getting paid when you create that playlist and you stream that playlist, that the royalties are going to the right place, et cetera, et cetera. So I think when I'm saying that, I don't think that's something that happens tomorrow. I'm talking 10 years from now. We won't even think about AI as AI is a thing. It'll just be a part of what we do. Yeah. As we head towards whatever the next period of disruption is. Yeah, exactly. Because there will be something after. And there always is, right? And I think that going from cassettes to CDs and or even from vinyl to CDs, and just the idea of what do we do with these racks at Tower Records? As I look at the picture of you at Tower, what do we do with these racks? Oh, what we should do when we sell CDs, we should put them in abnormally long rectangle cardboard cases so that they fit the vinyl racks, not change the vinyl racks. Let's make the CDs be in boxes that fit the so that you have
Never
to.
thought about
So
why it was like
you're
that.
wasting tree because you're ripping open 2/3 of the package you could just throw away immediately. And inside is a CD that only takes up 1/3 of the package. And the only reason it exists is so that they didn't have to remove the vinyl racks.
That's hilarious.
Talk about the music industry not adapting.
I never realized
That's
that.
why.
That's so
So they could
funny.
keep the same rack size. Retail stores are like, we're not going to change the rack size.
For anyone-
how is
for
anybody?
anyone 40 and over.
How is anybody going to see the CD?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Well,
gotta
maybe
stick
we
out.
should, we should create
Stilts.
this really long cardboard box. So
Wait, how about plastic?
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think as you've seen new technologies come in and people how they consume music, and the music industry's notoriously been slow to admit that it's happening and embrace that it's happening and adapt to it happening. And I think they've gotten in really quick on this.
Much quicker. Definitely attacking
than
it
anyone that I've
immediately.
seen before.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think I know from Seeker, and I know from partners that Seeker has partners, I know what some of the deals are that people are striking with these AI companies.
Yeah.
And in advance of revenue payments later, they're far more equitable than the deals we have with streamers.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, this is some good news.
They're far more equitable.
Can we talk about it?
They're not my deals to talk about,
Okay.
but let me promise you that the ones that I know about are more akin to like sync deals.
Is this for training data or is this for the output?
It is for both.
It's for both. That's amazing. That's
Both are far more equitable.
great.
And when I mean that, I mean like songwriters and publishers are getting paid more equitably than they are on streaming services.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
And
some
so
good news.
so when I talk about guardrails that are going in place, licensing deals that are going in place, once they're figured out, like some of the deals are going in place before the actual platforms to consume even exist, but the deals are going in place now in advance of that.
Yes.
As opposed to after they exist and trying to go back into the deals, which is like the Spotify and all that, right?
We're screwed already. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when it gets figured out, when it becomes something that you can monetize properly and people feel like their IP is protected, I think it's going to be a significant source of revenue for the industry and for music creators.
Great.
I think, but it's not tomorrow, but I think it's heading that way. There's a lot of lawsuits with Suno right now. And obviously there are deals being put into place with Udio and Levin Labs. And there's a lot of, and by the way, I don't even know if those if history tells us anything, some of those companies will probably get bought up by Google or Apple, some other bigger Amazon. Someone's going to buy these companies and then take their, think about Beats and Apple, and take a Suno and it becomes part of Google, and then Google owns it. Suno just becomes Google's AI platform, whatever it is, right? And so
Meta will buy one for sure.
Meta,
and put it into Instagram for generative audio
Meta,
and all
exactly.
that stuff.
Yeah. So I think, anyway, I just think that there is a light at the end of the tunnel with this.
That's great news.
But in the meantime, you have all of these like data leaks. Like, I just saw the Atlantics thing on like, they have like the data sets of all the music that's been stolen, that's being trained on illegally. And like you put in any song I've ever written or anything that's in Seeker's catalog and it's there. And you're like, what do you do about that?
Yeah. What do you do?
So like in the meantime, there's this period of disruption. And every time you pierce through those periods to the other side, it always turns out great for the music industry. And so I don't know why this one should be any different.
That's great. Well, especially I'm so glad there's a bunch of you guys attacking the issue.
So many people. And
There's
it's
so
not
many
just the
people
Recording
attacking it.
Academy.
Yeah.
There's so many organizations who are attaching it. And the publishers themselves and the record labels themselves are attacking the issues and suing and, trying to get to the bottom of it. But I think the protections have to be in place. I think generative AI music will not be what people are listening to.
Right.
I don't believe in that as having a long tail. I think
I'm with you on that.
I think there's a huge pushback against Gen AI music, and when I mean Gen AI, for anybody who doesn't know, is just basically pushing a button and having it create the song for you, or prompting it, having it create the song for you, song for you, and you put it out. I think human AI collaboration creation is the future of music creation. And I think AI is going to be built into all instruments and everything that we're doing going forward. Everything.
It's going to be in everything.
And so the human AI interaction will become what music creation becomes. But I think it needs the human element.
Yeah,
of
course.
And I think that when I said to someone, I was like, I think people are pushing back on Gen AI music. And he's like, well, there's like all these bands that come out that are Gen AI and they blow up. And I said, yeah, but I think it's like a small group of people who listen to them. I think when most people find out that song, I love that song. Oh, it's completely AI.
It goes away.
I don't think they love it anymore.
There's novelty. You listen to it once and then it goes away.
I
So
think-
it spikes and then just falls
I
right
think
off.
most people do not love that it's AI only.
Yeah.
That the human was not involved.
People emote to humans.
Yeah.
We want
Well,
to
I just
emote to
say,
humans.
I've never heard. Yeah, I've heard some AI songs where I'm like, that sounds like a hit, but
Yeah.
I've never heard an AI song that made me cry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hot topic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think there's a lot of incredible tools that are coming out. I think generative audio is a whole other thing. I think people just slap the word AI on something and get mad, and they don't even understand exactly what's going on. I understand people getting upset about compensation not being fair or not being anything right now, and there should absolutely be fair compensation. So I thank you and David and everyone that's working so hard on all these things, and Harvey and everybody for that's a big fight that everyone's focused on.
And Sona and NSAI,
Sona.
NSAI, like everybody, RAA, like they're all like all hands on deck.
Yeah, as they have to be.
As they have to be.
Because we don't want to, we got to learn from what happened with Napster of just like, oh, we got completely destroyed.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's inspiring because I think exactly what you said too with the AI is like it's like a way in which a system processes, right? It's a back end term. Like, why are we even calling it that? It's just going to be, what are the features? There's going to be all these different features of all these different things. Yeah, maybe the how it operates in the back end is from an LLM or is from something like that. But it's like that doesn't matter as much as what are you doing and how are people getting paid? Are people being paid fairly for however this output was put together? Okay, great. Now, what are all these other tools that you're going to be with you? Because as you said, it's going to be built into every instrument. It's going to be built into, it's already in the DAWs, and it's going to be even more into the DAWs. And we've already had it with Alexa and everything all over anyways. Your self-driving car, all these things there's already so many different things to that. So yeah, but fair compensation for music writers and producers and everyone is absolutely necessary.
And protection of IP.
And protection of IP.
And if you don't want your music trained,
and for film,
you don't have to have your music trained on.
I like your take, and I'm happy to hear that there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
I can't predict the future, but to me, I feel like that's where it's heading.
Yeah. And you've seen all that's been happening over the last 20 years.
For sure.
Dude.
It always works out in the end.
I would love to talk about your pops for a moment.
Sure.
So your dad is a legend of music, Neil Bogart, founder of Casablanca Records, signed Kiss, Donna Summer, Village People, George Clinton in Parliament, as we talked about. Your mother, Joyce, managed Kiss. And your dad was famous for like betting the label, right? Like a gambler.
Yeah.
And you just did a rated structured institutional bond deal. Is Seeker the disciplined version of Casablanca?
Way more disciplined than Casablanca. Way more disciplined than Casablanca. That's like not
same
even
instinct, better math.
Yeah, same instinct, way better math. I mean, Casablanca was massively successful, and you could argue pound for pound more successful than Seeker, but
give it some time.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. But completely different, obviously, approaches. But yes, way better at math.
So your dad unfortunately died when you were four.
Yeah.
Man, it's so crazy. And I just had Jacob Noel was just on the podcast, the new singer of Sublime, Bradley Noel's son, died when he was 11 months old.
Yeah.
So we were talking a lot about losing your dad at a real young age. With you being 4, I'm assuming you still had almost no real memories of
just a few
kind of small things. So you were always probably hearing like, oh, you're like your dad with this thing or whatever. And you're kind of like talking, people are like referring to a man who is your dad and is your DNA, but isn't someone that you got to really meet, or you met, of course, but you know what I mean, have a deep relationship with.
Yeah.
How does that feel when people say that to you? And like, do you feel like you're measured against this thing? I mean, you've now developed your own name for yourself. You've accomplished all those things.
All of everything you just said, yes. I think on a subconscious level, I may not have gone into music if it weren't for him dying. And I think when I was younger, I made a lot of decisions subconsciously that were based on maybe trying to feel closer to him. A lot of good decisions, like going into the music industry. It's awesome. I don't regret that. and then even like, the Hollywood lifestyle of it all that ended up leading to my sobriety. I don't regret that either, because I am who I am today because of it.
Yeah.
But all of that, I think, was very much like chasing this myth, this legend, the story of, and not the man.
Yeah.
That he was just a human being who like loved music and was trying to create a better life for his family.
Yeah.
Unfortunately got cancer and passed away at 39 years old in like the height of his career.
Oh.
When you're younger, you don't think about it like that, and there's probably some like underlying feelings of abandonment and things like that. And that some sort of resentments, in there. But I think, as I've gotten older and done work on it, you look back and you're like, I didn't know the man, but I can imagine what the man was like.
Yeah. And
disassociate the myth, the legend of Neil Bogart from, this poor kid from Brooklyn who like literally wouldn't take no for an answer and was basically conned his way into the music industry and then was good at it.
Yeah.
And then, and created this amazing life for so many people and has changed so many people's lives.
Absolutely.
And brought so much good music to the world and was a totally generous, amazing human being. And I never heard anyone say a bad word about him ever. People are always telling me, your dad was this, and your dad told me this, and your dad gave me this. And it's all these amazing stories. And it's like, I wish I knew him. I wish I had a chance to know him, but, in some ways, he's here with me. He's part of me,
absolutely.
And so yeah, I mean, I spent probably the first 6 years or so of being in the music industry chasing his shadow.
Yeah.
And this feeling of like, comparing myself to him. And all that did was bring me to like the lowest point of my life.
Yeah.
Which then brought me to the highest point of my life, getting sober and having the life that I want.
Yes,
and so again, don't regret it. That's the path I went through, et cetera. But, his death has been a huge part in my life in both in informing who I became as a human and as a father and as, a husband and all of it.
That's beautiful, man. With everything that you have accomplished today and all these different worlds and all the different hats you've worn, which one do you think he would be most proud of and most stoked on?
Songwriting.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Songwriting, that's the one thing that he never killed. He never did great at. He's a pretty bad songwriter. Some of the songs he wrote were terrible. In fact, it's so funny. When we made a movie a few years back with my brothers and I about my dad called Spinning Gold.
Yeah.
And you obviously know, yeah.
Of course.
And
I helped you with some things. We got
you did. You got
people cast.
You got a bunch of people cast in it. Yeah. Like Bill Withers' band and the thing was in there. Yeah. And then like the keyboardist and Edwin Hawkins' band came from you guys too. Yeah. The
drummer for Kiss.
The drummer for Kiss.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, for sure.
Peter Chris. It was,
the drummer guy, but he was in like a rock band in like Jersey or something like that, like a heavy rock band.
He's a big drummer.
It's a big drummer. What was the band?
Oh God, why am I
Red Yellow, Red Burn, something with
August Burns Red.
August Burns Red.
Yeah. Matt Greiner.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Greiner.
Shout out Matt Greiner.
We remember the whole time. Yeah. Love you, Matt.
But yeah, so we made this movie and we had to show this scene. So my dad had this song that came out on Portrait Records called Bobby under the name Neil Scott when he was trying to make, one of the ways he was trying to hustle into the industry as an artist, and he got signed to Portrait Records and he put out this song called Bobby. He put out a whole album. The song in like the song got to like number 30 or something in the charts or something, 34 or something. I don't know. But my grandma used to called him a has-been that never was. At the time he became, but at the time. But he had this he won like a competition against like Elvis on like the call in the hotline and vote what song you think is better or whatever. And like that was like his claim to fame, as his song beat Elvis one night on the radio.
That's awesome.
But we listened to the song and we were like, oh, it's terrible. Like, how can we convince an audience that this song beat Elvis? There's no way. Like, he for sure rigged it, or people were calling. He had people in the city, in the Brooklyn calling and whatever, And so we wrote a brand new song for the movie and pretended like it was his song. And I thought, that right there would have been the most proud of, is that I wrote him a song.
Yeah, I love that. Man.
I got to write him a song in the movie.
That's beautiful.
And his character sang it,
Well, dude, it's been a great hang.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is so fun.
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah, I love talking to you, and this is great. Congrats on everything with the podcast. It's amazing.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. And I learned a lot about you, actually.
Uh-huh.
I learned a whole lot. It's Evan Bogart.
Go with Elmo. Go with Elmo. Go with Elmo. Go with Elmo. This is the stuff, man.